And as we roll into 3, 2, 1, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to level 2. It's where all the big boys and girls hang out. We're going to go through wins for the week. Hopefully they pop up. And then we're going to go for hot seats. I know we have a few questions already, but let's bring whatever you need over the next hour, hour and a half. So we have, let me know you can hear me and see me. Hey, Alison, Heather, Jack, Mike, and Tony. Yep. Yes and yes. Okay, very cool. So let me go and just jump into level 2. So there we go. So we have wins for the week. I think people on level 1, James did his year figures, and considering he had 8 weeks out and 5 weeks to go, he's up on last year, both from the online element, but also charging more, down to his mindset, and cool enough to say that part of it is being part of this group. And he's got 5 clients at the moment, which are all getting great results. We've got Tony, outsourced her VAT, instead of doing it herself. Yes, that's very good. VA working through LinkedIn. All clients on the Reset Blueprint getting great results and losing weight. Love it. 2 clients have commented specifically on their marriages and how they've improved since starting the program. Personally and professionally, it's been a great year and believe I'm a much stronger individual and a coach, and my family are proud, and that makes me happy. Very cool. Ali had a good laugh watching Jack barefoot in the freezing cold at the sea. I bet it was like men when they go in the sea, like that. Signed up to some private adult dance classes, online at first, then in person when the whole world opens up. I might be getting the wrong end of the stick here, but what does that mean? Is it adult only or adult? And Tony's saying adult dance classes. Is that a bit like the adult hotel that got advertised to me? The adult hotel that got advertised me, I was like, oh, look, they've got a TRX in the room. It's funny, TRX. Okay, so Ali's doing some adult dancing. Booked a week on the beach alone for December. Awesome. Had a great coaching call with Phil, reading and loving Iron John. I haven't read that. I may buy it if it's recommended, Ali. One of my original clients left my program yesterday with not 1 but 2 promotions in work, taking her to her dream job she's been thinking of going for 7 years. Didn't have the confidence to go for it until she now calls this the Ali effect. She's also dropped 2 dress sizes. Very cool. Mike, we are working on myself each day, sticking to my morning formula, creating a slideshow for my rebills. 4 testimonials from mastery clients. Nice. Had a Rocky coaching call, group coaching call, which I stayed present in. Nice. Had a mastery client who really struggled with the perfect day model. Again, I remained present and silent throughout. Nice. Also finished King, Warrior, Magician, Lover. We'll start on the book by Self-Esteem, recommended by Tim. Yeah, it's nice. It's a really good book. Have fully realized I have a business, regular income, and no money problems whatsoever. Nice. I love reading every day just to make everything as fun as possible. LinkedIn gone up to 4,800 over the last 90 days. Almost 2 people have saw my profile. That's a good win for going forward. Hell yeah. Heather, we got great client calls this week and last week. Really enjoying my calls. Feeling strong and confident with my clients and in calls. Mirror work, high 5. Staying strong, positive, and remaining available to my kids, hubby, and friends in the middle of sweeping COVID shutdowns. One-to-one call with Tim where it felt different, better. Awesome. Diving into level 2 modules and have a strong goal for getting through month 1. Love it. Jack had the pleasure of going down south last weekend, meeting up with Ali and seeing the house before exchange. Nice. Have made some strong decisions in my personal life and decided to leave the UK next year and travel with my dog. All right, man. I love it. Spent 2 hours last night going through direct outreach and got 4 calls booked from it. Started my gratitude diary finally, wrote my bucket list per Phil's request. On a mission to find my own happiness and connection again. Had a great coaching call with Phil yesterday, talking about my trauma and why I am the way I am. Was a real eye-opener. Nice. Awesome, dude. So Ali's explaining that that's what it's called. It is adult dancing in the way that you all think. And she's just decided that she wants to learn adult dancing. That was a total lie. She didn't say that at all. She just said it's effing R&B for adults. I just thought that was fun. And then Heather says, what is that, Ali? Ali leaves the internship. So no, it's not adult dancing in that context. Pole dancing isn't adult dancing anymore. That's fitness. Okay. So this is serious stuff now. For context, Ali is not doing adult dancing or pole dancing. It's R&B. Who needs a hot seat? Yeah. Who needs a hot seat? We'll make a penis joke and then I'm just not sure, Ali, if you can make a penis joke at this point, though. I think I'm not sure if it works now. It's too close. Yes, please. We're going to Tony. In 3, 2, 1.
Hey.
Hey, Tony.
Ali, it's pole dancing. Own it.
It's R&B.
Well, yes. You can call it whatever you want.
Yeah,
as long as he enjoys it. As long as you enjoy it, Ali, who cares?
Adult dance is not a bad thing to learn.
Well, R&B or adult dance?
But like adult dancing, I don't think it's the worst thing to learn in the world. I don't know.
I've just never heard it called, I've never heard it called.
I actually did get advertised a adult hotel, and it was a sex swing in the picture. Yeah. And I did click on the picture to see what the hotel was like, and it actually is one of the rooms. As gross as this sounds, is literally mattresses made of plastic.
Oh, so everywhere.
I'm not sure why it got advertised to me, because it's literally a room with the whole floor covered in plastic mattresses. Interesting. Let's get back to business.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Ali's starting to see what it's like. Ha ha ha. What help do you need?
So basically, I had just the backstory to it. August, right, middle of August, I had a triage sales call booked with this lady, and then she cancelled, saying that just basically that one of her team was down and she couldn't cover the hours, and that she'd get back in touch. So I've kind of been going back and forth since then. Now she hasn't told me to piss off, but I kind of feel like I need to kind of call her out in a nice way, either get her to tell me to go away or make a decision. Because the time I spoke to her, like, she was on the verge of tears, saying that she basically goes to sleep thinking about her weight and she gets up thinking about her weight. So I think she just got scared and she used it as an excuse of being busy with the promotion and all that jazz.
And so when you say going back and forth, describe what that is.
I'm saying going back and forth. She cancelled, and she said she'd get back in touch. I have followed the sequence, and she's still seeing everything, but she hasn't told me not to message her, put it that way. So that's why I'm saying at this point, would I just kind of say, have you decided not to, do X, Y, and Z? Will we just close this?
So since she cancelled the triage call, has she interacted with you? Has she come towards you in any way? Either like commenting on posts, asking for something, liking posts?
Nothing.
No. And you've followed her up?
Yeah.
With what? What have you sent to her?
She's gone into the sequence. She's had articles, kind of client success stories.
In LinkedIn or email? Yeah.
Both. I've kind of done a little bit of both, but she seems to be well, she told me that I sent too many emails, so she unsubscribed to my posts, to my emails, which I spoke to Phil about. And we both agreed that she was using that as an excuse because she's possibly scared. He was saying he's never had anyone say to him, I go to sleep thinking about my weight and I wake up thinking about my weight.
Okay.
So I kind of feel like I need to...
You definitely need to do something.
Yeah. Either call it a day or kind of push her gently to make a decision or tell me to go away.
Okay. Here's what I would do. I'd probably just phone her.
Okay.
I'd just get on the phone and call her.
Okay.
Just be honest, like, be genuine, be honest. I'll give you a couple of things that you can say. And then just put a line under it.
Okay.
So when she picks up, just be honest and just say, look, I know I've been messaging you. I'm going to be honest, like, and don't do this straight away, but just be like, I'm still thinking about what you said to me about not being able to go to sleep. And you know what? Like, whatever you want to say, like, I don't want to tell you what to say. It's like, I know how that feels. Well, if you don't say that. Like, if you do, then say it. I know how it feels feeling like that about things in life. If that's the truth. Like, empathy is there, but not false empathy. I know how that feels. It must be really difficult, or it must be really difficult. And to be honest, I've been thinking about it. And I just wanted to reach out and see how you are. If she picks up the phone, it's a good sign. She might not. So I'd call her. I wouldn't leave a message. She might have you saved. She might not. Then I'd call back again about 10 minutes. If she doesn't pick up, I'd leave it. And then I'd call back about like 3-4 hours later. I'd do it very specifically like that. Mm-hmm. If she doesn't answer on the third time, I would leave a message and I'm going to tell her that I'm going to call her back tomorrow. At any point, if she answers, say, look, and I just want to get in front of it straight away. The analogy is like, not the analogy, but the structure is like, if you were to speak to someone and you were just a bit unsure and they were a bit unsure, you would probably go up to them and say something like, hey, listen, I can't stay long. I've got to meet my friends. You're lowering the risk because it's like, oh my God, there's this weird, creepy man who's about to talk to me and, oh, that's happened to me before and they don't leave me alone. So it's like, I need to lower the risk massively. So people wonder what's going on. Like subconsciously they move into their amygdala, which is their fight or flight part of their brain. So we want to do things to get them out of that straight away, which is, look, I can't stay long. I know. And it's like, I am using dating stuff here, but it's like, if you go and speak to someone and they think it's a bit weird because they're like, you tell them how they're feeling and it makes them feel like it's not weird. Look, I know it's really random. And their brain's like, this is random. I do feel right to feel random. You calling her is random. Say, look, I know this might feel a bit strange. To be honest, and I get this out pretty quickly, to be honest, and this is the line that I worked really well for me. I was going to email, but with everything going on, and you know what, I'm just a bit more old school. I actually just like talking to people in real life as opposed to social media, and then be quiet. And they often agree at that point. Oh yeah, because everyone wants to say that's them. So there's a couple of things I'm doing. I'm lowering the risk. I say, look, I can't stay long. I've just got 10 minutes before my next client, or I've just got 15 minutes before my next client. But look, and I know this might feel a bit, you could say random or a bit off the cuff, you know, to be honest. And what you'll do is when this works, you'll feel a shift in the energy. And it often happens when they go, yeah, me too. It's just, they're in one part of the brain and it just moves them into the other part, which is relaxed. I now know that I'm speaking to Tony for 10 minutes. I know that this is strange and I should feel like this, and then I can relax. And then you go into the look. To be honest, like, I know that, did she email you saying that you sent her too many emails?
She said that she'd come back round and just to let me know that she's unsubscribed because she would have got the triage to sales those, and then she's obviously on my list. So for the days that we hadn't spoke, she would have got those every day.
So I might just get that out and I'll just say, look, I know that I respect what you said about the emails. Look, to be honest, like the only reason I called is because you stuck in my mind. Say what you want. Like it's like, you know, look, I feel, and sometimes you need to tell someone, I feel like you need some help. Or at the very, it's like the way Travis used to explain it is a bit like a pendulum. So when you make he taught me how to sell on email. Like, I don't do it anymore, but it was like, when you sell on email, the investment for the program is 5K. Most people make their investment back in the first 4 weeks. These results are not typical. However, if you XYZ, they're perfectly possible. So I'm on the call to her and I'll be like, look, to be honest, like, I think you need some help. But at the very least, I would like to give you a bit of a plan that at least you can try and go and activate yourself or implement yourself. You need some help, but then I'm sort of backing off from that as well. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She needs some strength. She is scared.
Yeah, because the last interaction was a text that Phil said to send her, and just be really, are you still thinking about your going to bed and waking up? She blanked that.
Yeah.
So she's either going to listen to me or lose the rag.
Yeah, and fine. So one last go, and if
to
be honest, so Barry was someone that I pushed a lot more than I normally would. I really did. And look, he's coming to the program.
Yeah, he's able for it, yeah.
You know, so move on. She still might come back round, by the way, but just you move on and you like your energy somewhere else. At the end of the triage call, like, make her come towards you. Like, I'd really like to have a conversation next, again, like we organised. What would you like to do? So the way the triage call structure is framed is like, at the beginning, it's like, this is what we're going to do. You're driving it, you're leading it. You need to, at the end of the call, create space for her to step into it. She needs to do that. If she's not going to do that, then she needs to say to you, I want to jump on that call. Look, I think that you'd really benefit from having the call that we discussed. I think you need some help, but at the very least, we're going to get you a plan, give you some structure. What would you like to do? Make her say she wants to get on the call with you.
And if she starts going on with, I'm so busy in work, and
then I wouldn't chase her.
Yeah,
I would just be silent. If she said, I'm so busy at work, I would just sit there and stare at her.
Sit in attention. Yeah, no, it's just, she is on my mind, because that day I spoke to her, she was very upset. Yep. So she is scared, but again, she has to want it. But I think I just want to give it one last shot with her, and if she decides to leave it, then that's cool. I'm quite happy to move on. But I can just draw a line in the sand.
Anything else on that?
No.
Anything else overall?
Anything else? I suppose it's crickets again, which irritates me a tad. I seem to go in peaks and I do really well. And I was thinking about it the other day, and it's not that I sit in my ass after I'd have a good month, because I'm still working every day. I'm still doing the same routine and that. I think it literally, as Phil said to me, I just need to trust the process with LinkedIn and let the VA run through the process properly instead of me jumping in.
How are
Like,
you
I
feeling
don't.
about this with like her doing it? Her, sorry, is it
Him.
her?
It's a him.
Oh, there you go. See,
Yeah.
I should check people's pronouns.
He no, he's doing very well. He is doing very well. It's a little bit. I'm probably better this week. I feel a little bit useless. I know it's part of the process. I feel, yeah, I do. I think it's the control thing. I'm feeling a little bit. Oh,
So when you say the control thing, like I went over the other day on the call, what I realized about the whole thing about working with other people, like it's a really good insight to go, it's the control thing, but there's often a level below that. Like, and again, awareness of the real awareness of the problem is often the most part of the solution. It's not that I don't trust other people. It's that in the past, I don't trust myself. And I just realized it. And I was like, oh my God, now I could stop, like, and it's not panicking, but it's like, I'm just seeing the world from the perception of how I think the world is. It's not true. That's not how the world is. The world is totally different. It's just my perception of it. The perception of someone else who always did what they said, or grew up with someone who always did what they said, I wouldn't have the same challenges. Do you remember me saying that?
I do, but I would follow through on what 99% of the time.
Sure. So what is the control thing?
I think it's just because I'm so used to for so long just doing everything and having to do everything myself.
Go deeper.
It just feels weird. It feels.
Go deeper.
I've had to just always rely on myself.
Why?
Because that's just how it's been for years. Like, obviously my family and friends, like, I have a very small niche of friends.
Why though? Why have you always had to rely on yourself?
Because then the fuckers don't let you down. If I mess up, I've messed up. It's me that's made balls of it. It's me that didn't do the work. It's me that didn't. But I think it's through experience of trusting in people, the whole trust thing, I suppose, trust in other people. And I because I do 99.999%, if I say I'm going to do something, and integrity is such a big thing to me. Like, I'm
going to be honest, Tony. Is that all right?
Yeah. It depends on what you're going to say now.
No, I'm going to just say it, and you can just say, dude, you have no idea, and you're a douchebag.
Okay, right.
I might be wrong. I might not. I don't know. It's like, you veered off at the end there to the sort of like integrity thing. That doesn't feel like what it is. I don't know. It doesn't feel like that's it. I think that it's the part before that. And I don't know. No, this is why I think it's really important to understand, like, where does this really come from?
You mean the trust, is it?
Yeah, I think it's that. I don't think it's the integrity thing. I don't know. It's like,
I suppose, yeah. Well, look, I suppose, yeah, okay. I said, to me, integrity and trust and all that all kind of morph into the same thing. Like, if you say you're going to do something, do it. Be upfront and honest with people. Don't say one thing and do another. Now, I know nobody's perfect. None of us are. But because I'm very kind of like, if I've got your back, I've got your back regardless. I'll stand by you. I chew my arm off and let somebody down if I've given them a promise that I'll be there. So I think I've probably, over the years, obviously, as well, I isolated myself because it was just easier to kind of not be let down.
what happens if you were let down?
Well, now, obviously, that I'm older and I understand, you get over it, I don't expect so much from people anymore. I've more, I suppose, especially in the last year, I've probably have definitely chilled an awful lot more. It's like, just because I do it this way doesn't necessarily mean that so-and-so will do it that way. And that doesn't mean they're wrong. That's just their way.
Would you at some point want to have, and by the way, I don't know the answer to this, but would you want to have a team? Or is that something you're like, no, I never would? I used to want it, by the way.
I used to say no. It's something I would consider now.
In a personal relationship, would you know what like the idea of surrender is?
How do you mean, as in surrender, as in not have to do everything?
As in surrender, like getting in a relationship where you truly surrender yourself to the other person.
Yeah, I have been there, done that.
Ask yourself the question, or go and like explore some of this and ask yourself the question, did I really surrender myself to that person?
You'll have to be a bit more specific. I don't like when I'm in a relationship, I'm all in. Like, there's no.
Okay.
I don't understand what you
mean. My personal opinion is, just to be very clear,
yeah.
I don't think most people truly do surrender themselves to the other person. I don't think they do. And I'd speak to people and they're like, oh no, I'm not saying that you are or you're not, but I think a lot of people are like, I'm all in. I don't think they really, really are. I don't think they truly let the other person truly see the real them. It's a lot of work that people could do that I've been reading about relationship. By the way, I'm not in a relationship, so who the fuck am I to talk, right?
Neither am I, so.
My hope is that I eventually, my God, listen to that. My hope is that I will be. Not my hope is I'm going to be. There's no hope. And it's like, I know that within the relationship that I was in before, I never truly surrendered myself to the person. I never really let them see like every. By the way, there is a reason I'm saying this. It's not because I'm just going off on tangents because I like talking about this stuff. But I do think that if we can truly surrender ourselves to someone, then it starts to heal us. I think that most people don't have a trust in other people because in the end, they never really truly felt understood by parents. And by the way, that's not parents' fault. It's like, I said to someone, like, I sent them a message, and I'm being quite personal here. It's something like, there was a lot of stuff that was noise that was going on. And I was just like, I think it said something like, I see you. And then it was like, ... all of you. And you can tell that had a really profound effect on the person. And it's like, most people won't do that. They won't really allow themselves to be seen by the other person. And I think that does stem back from, by the way, I'm not the only person that Ali said as well. I agree with you 100%. And apparently Ali has a theory on it as well. So, by the way, the reason I'm kind of really going into this is not because it's like, oh, I'm saying that you don't. I think that there's a really nice bit of understanding of ourselves that we can find from what seems like small problems. That I just thought, oh, I feel sorry for the other person. And I couldn't figure out, why does this still show up all the time? And then as soon as I realized what the real problem was, or what I think is the real problem, was that I just never trusted myself. And I never trusted anyone around me, the caregivers, because they said one thing and did another. That was my perception. It's like when I just came to that realization, it stopped me acting like this. Is it making any sense, Tony? I'm not talking in riddles again. I know sometimes you're like,
I'm so used to you now at this stage.
You're sometimes like, dude, just tell me exactly what you think.
No, I understand what you're saying, but I don't, like, to be honest with you, at this point, I'm so comfortable in myself now and happy in my own skin. If you were to turn around and tell me that I'll never meet anyone, I'm actually all right. I don't believe that's true, but I'm good. Like, I don't need to be with somebody. I would like to be. I don't need to be with somebody, and I don't particularly want to be. There's so many people, I think they're codependent, and they see it as I don't know whether you want to use this word surrendering or whatever, but like, I have been in relationships, and they, like, my last relationship, he would have got me even more so than the relationship I was in, that I had the house and everything. But he wasn't. He had his own shit going on, you know.
Okay, I'll tell you what we'll do is, like, again, none of this hope. I don't want you to get off going, oh, what the hell is that dude talking about? Like, so just say what you mean. It's like so I think that if we bring it back to what we're talking about, like working on some of this stuff of like why I'm struggling with this, like, and maybe it is that I'm just working on trusting this person. I'm working on not being
just explain to me what I'm struggling with now, because I've lost what
I'm not saying that you're struggling with anything. I'm just like opening a conversation.
Right, but what's it in relation to?
Like having other people, having other people do something, and you were like a little bit like, oh, I feel a bit lost, and trust in the process, I guess.
Yeah, I think it's just trust in the process, and I think I'm so used to physically always doing something. There's probably a little bit of that as well, and obviously the current situation at the moment, I can't bloody go anywhere. Yeah, so it's a bit it's a bit like Groundhog Day, so that's not helping.
Yep. And so it almost feels like, because now what I was spending a reasonable amount of my day doing is now being given to someone else.
Yeah. And it's like, right, okay, now what do I do? So
cool.
I wouldn't rule out a team, because I think I have a great brand, and I think there's
I do too.
There's a lot I could do with it. So I can't do it all on my own, and I know that. So I think now I would be far more attuned to selecting the right individuals to work with, that I get and they get me, if that makes sense.
Totally. Find some stuff to do.
Okay.
I put a post out the other day of like, who's got hobbies? I put it out for a reason. I'm like, fuck me, I don't have any hobbies. Literally, I was reading a book about all these famous people, like really intelligent people, like what they do, like all sorts of shit. Chop trees down was one of them.
Right.
I ain't got a clue. I never know what. I don't have a hobby.
So I don't anymore. It used to be kickboxing, but I'm sure it's going to be next year now at this point.
So I don't know. Meditate more. Find stuff. Trust the process with getting this guy on board, though.
I think I just need to keep going as I am. I know it's there. I know that.
What's the income for this month?
I'm at 4.3 and my target's 10. But it's like so I've still have time. I need two more. Two and a half.
Sure. And like, again, just some takeaways from the other day. It's like, I would suggest that at the very least, like next year, start talking quarters. Even if you're doing it now, it's not the worst thing in the world. Like, I'm working on quarter income as opposed to just the month. I think that helps. Stick to the process. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm a lot clearer. I'm an awful lot clearer. Even the questions you asked me the last time we spoke about, you know, money to make next year, living arrangements, all that jazz. Like, I've been really kind of thinking about it and spending time on it. So I'm a lot clearer now in my head.
Cool. When will you know that the LinkedIn VA thing is sort of fit for purpose and doing its job? What needs to happen?
I have my first check-in with him tomorrow. So we're going to go through everything. It looks, I had a little bit of, I probably took my eye off the ball a little bit too much. And he mixed up some of the messages, but look, hey, it's not the end of the world.
When will you know though? What needs to happen specifically to go, yeah, this is good. This is where it needs to be.
It's going to be another week because there's 11 steps.
But what needs to happen is what I'm saying, not how long is it going to be.
I need to get into a conversation with somebody.
Awesome. So when you're starting to get into conversations with people, then you're like, yeah, this step's working.
Yeah, because he knows when the human replies, I take over. So it is starting. They're starting to now say thanks for connecting. You know, blah blah blah. So they are starting to. So it's just. Awesome. I suppose I'm just thinking, should I be doing something else other than LinkedIn? But Phil is telling me no. Just stick to the process.
Meditate.
Well, I can't get past 10 minutes.
That's what you need to work on then.
It's just not doing it for me. I'm doing my mirror work.
Mirror work.
Started my mirror work for the 4th time.
Sit in silence for an hour and do nothing.
Stop. I can try I'll do 30 and work my way up. I'd actually rather boil my head now than do an hour.
Cool.
I'll commit to 30 minutes.
All right. All good?
All right. Cheers.
Where are we? Where are you going? How do I mute you? There you go. Okay, who needs a hot seat? Ashley, and then Alex, and then Alison. Ashley, Alex, and Alison. Okay, Mr. Green.
I was going to say, you're calling me Ashley.
Green. You know where I picked up that from, don't you?
I know exactly who you picked that from.
Yeah, I know. What are we working on, Green?
But weirdly, all my friends, like even from when I was like 10, 11, they always called me Mr. Green for some reason. Different schools, different groups of friends. Everyone just called me Mr. Green. And
but not green, just green on its own.
Well, yeah, couples just do green on its own. And Steph didn't even know that when she started calling me Green and Mr. Green. So I don't know what that is. It's quite funny.
I'll call you Sir Ashley. That's
better. That's nice. I like that.
You like that? All right. So Ashley, what help do you need?
Well, a couple of questions actually. I'll tell you what they are first. Firstly, is just your thoughts on an offer for a hybrid, for a hybrid. I know I've said in the past I'm not really that interested in hybrids, but I've got the space, so I figure why not. And the first question, just I'm having is with a client, Jeremy. I'm having just thoughts on how I can get to unlock him a bit. I'm finding difficulty getting a bit more depth with him.
Okay.
I can go into that in more detail if you.
Yeah, start there.
Yeah.
Cool.
You start there. Well, Jeremy, he's doing well. He's sick. I'll give you a quick background on him. He's 64. He's retired. He was 105 kilos. He's down to 99. He's in week 6. So he's doing really well. He's even had a blip in there as well. So he hasn't been at this weight for 10 years or something. But his thing is he just wants to not just get down there, but obviously he wants to maintain it. He wants to learn how to maintain it, right? And he wants to kind of he keeps going on. He doesn't have an off switch. He's all right when he's on a diet, when he's on a thing to lose weight, right? But his thing is stopping overeating. Now I know. Look, I had a chat with Phil about it, and he was saying that it's probably to do with his past and feeling shame from his dad, etc., etc. But I can't seem to, by his own words, he's not really used to doing any sort of self-reflection. But even over the last 6 weeks, he's got a lot better, and I think he does enjoy the coaching calls. So he is, learning how to be coached, if you like. But yeah, just some thought. What are your thoughts on that?
And you said, how do I unlock him? Is that the word?
Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I feel like he doesn't want to. It's like I don't know if he doesn't want to go there. It's like I feel like he kind of blocks it. He stops it.
Okay.
Like delving into his past.
Do you think that there's a difference between working with someone who's 65 and working with someone who's 30?
Yeah.
What makes you say that? What would you see the differences? Could you think of some?
Yeah, well, I think, people who are 60s, I've actually had a few clients, like 3 or 4 have been in their 60s. And I think all of them haven't really wanted to delve back into their past, some more than others.
Do you know
why? Because maybe part of them is they don't see the point of doing it. They don't want to have to, because they're older and they're kind of, they've worked and they've gone through, they're at sort of, they're not at the end of their life, but they're, yeah, that, I think some of it, and especially Jeremy said, is like, well, when he had who do you want to be? He was like, well, I'm 64. What do you mean, who do I want to be? So we just had to have a conversation about, well, you obviously want to change things about yourself, et cetera, et cetera.
So look, yeah, I've got some thoughts, and you're right. And so there's a couple of things. It's like, if I'm 30, I've probably got like 25 years of like, not only like to be honest, like trauma, destructive patterns, or just patterns. Like, most of these were there a lot before that. But they've kind of been embedded by like 20 years of just life. So they're deeply ingrained, but I've not been alive for 65 years. When you're 65, like, these are ingrained as hell. So I've literally had 65 years of this as me, that it's just been ingrained. And I've gone out and I've proven, without necessarily knowing it, that this is the reality of who I am and how my life is. This, by the way, this happens. It's like 40, 45. There's a book that I'm going to suggest you read around like midlife crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had clients that are not quite as old as him, but it's like, it is almost like, they never said it, and I might be wrong, but it felt a little bit like, and there was little things like, I'm just stuck in my ways. It sometimes felt like that, what in a little bit of like, well, what's the point me doing it now? Because if you're 30 and you're sitting there and you're like, you're all fucked up, you bury it, obviously. But it's like, man, I've got most of my life still to achieve things and do things and live. It's like, it's painful delving into yourself. It's painful. It's fucking hard. So why would I do it? Part of that, I think there's also something about like, and again, this is just through reading, the only personal experience I could bring would be more from like just feeling better about myself now than I did 15 years ago. But that possibly is just because of doing a bit more. But I definitely think some stuff I've read, it's like, as we get older, we just become more comfortable with ourselves. Now, is more comfortable with ourselves just an acceptance that this is just how it is? Or is it just genuinely, you read that older people seem to be just more comfortable with themselves? Like the little things start to be less important. I think it's probably a bit of both of them. You also read about the fact that like when people are faced with their mortality, and often very directly, like now, like I might ask you some of this. It's like, you're told, I don't know, someone's told that they've got like 2 months to live. Like, it changes their perception of things. It's like, is there an acceptance, or is there like sometimes they sort of talk almost like a peacefulness? I don't know. So some of it feels like that. You got to also look at someone who's 65. By the way, I don't know any of this. I'm just kind of saying what I think.
Yeah, sure.
You've got to look at someone who's 65. Like, they grew up in a different time to now. How old is his dad, do you think?
Well, his dad's dead, but his mum's still alive. His mum's
How
still
old
alive. So
would his dad be?
in his 80s.
Probably older.
Yeah, probably, yeah. Early
90s.
90s. Yeah.
It's like the dude was born in like 1920, his dad. It's like, men didn't talk about this shit.
No. When he's very much like that, he's very, what's the word? Very stoic. You know what I mean?
I
Is
know.
that the right word?
It's the right word, but it's not true. It's like, that's what they would say. My dad was very stoic. No, he wasn't.
Right.
Your dad was emotionally dead.
Right.
It's total. Stoic is not that. So, but that's what people would say. Yeah. So part of it is like, you need to help him see, why would he do this? Why does he want it? Like, he needs to understand, like, because there is pain there, whether he knows it or not, or starts to feel it at some point. starts to have that conversation and then pulls out of it because he doesn't want to talk about it. He needs to know why it's beneficial for him now. Why would it be beneficial for him to change? Does he think it's possible? Does he genuinely want to? And when I say that sort of word, it's not like I'm not testing him. I'm like, do you think it's possible for someone to change deeply held beliefs about how they are at 65? He better say yes to that. I suspect he probably would, because he's saying that he wants to change how he acts with food, right?
Yeah.
Maybe the who are you, maybe the who are you is not you in 10 years. It's who are you in a year. Maybe try that. It's like, okay, well, start with a year, because he's telling you, by the way, he is telling you that he does want to stop. What did he say? Like, what was his terminology?
Stop overeating. He uses, like he's got no off switch. He can't stop himself. No off switch.
He's got no off. Would you like to change that? Yes. So the version of the person you are now sitting here today, does he have that ability? No. So do you see that we need to create something different about how you are, how you act? Yeah. So in a year, would you like to be that person? Yeah. So let's describe what that person does. Can we do who you would want to be in 12 months' time?
And yeah, that's cool. And we do that on the call.
Yeah, do it with him. And like bit by bit, you might need to start edging him forward. Like, does he have children?
Yeah, 3.
Does he have grandchildren?
No. Yeah, he does. Sorry, he does. Yeah, 2.
It's like, what is there to help him decide that he wants to change? Like what go on.
Okay, you're just saying that as a
no, go on, tell
making
me.
him think, right? Well, he just been diabetes, like 8 months ago. So that's a big thing for him, right?
So I mean, the only thing I say when you say that is like, yeah. Lots of people who are 65 get diabetes and don't do anything about it.
Yeah.
It's like sometimes it feels like, he needs to, if he thinks it's too late, let him at least tell you. I'll give you some other thoughts as well. There's a couple of things I sometimes do with guys, and I just ask them about, like, what would you know if I use this word or this term? What would you know about? I'm not saying I would use this, but like, what do you know about like self-sabotage?
Right.
What do you know about like the idea of, and I'm not saying I would say this to him now, by the way, but it's like, what do you know about the word like trauma? And they might say, well, don't know anything about it at all. Do you mind if I just give you a little bit of some thoughts about it? Say, yeah, and I just give them a little bit of an explanation, but I don't go any further. It's like, I just want to give him a little bit of an insight and then just let him sit on it. It's like, men are scared of this stuff. It's like, I just want him to sit on that of like, well, he's asked me a question about this. It must be important, but why did we not go any further? So what do you know about like trauma and how that affects people? I might ask him that, actually. I might use that word. And then I might explain it. I say, do you mind if I explain a little bit of what it actually means? So it's like a lot of people, when they hear that word, they feel like, oh God, it's something that happened that was terrible when they were younger, but often it's not. Often it was just like how their parents might have acted around food and they've picked it up. It might have been that sometimes they, and again, I'm careful of my language, like sometimes they feel like, you have children and they were, the only time they felt love was from their grandparents who gave them lots of chocolate and sweets, made them feel warm. So it became a bit like it gave them a trauma or something that they were lacking somewhere else. Or, and you might even say, like, as crazy as this sounds, it's like children were taught that, you need to finish everything on your plate. Even when they weren't hungry, they were made to do it, even though they didn't want to. And that creates this little bit of trauma inside us that we probably don't even think about. And then he's like, oh, so look, just something I thought I'd mention. Just take him off somewhere else. And bit by bit,
plants the seed. Just plants the seed.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I might wait till the next week and I'll just say, did you have any thoughts on what we spoke about? Like, he might not know deep down that it's okay to talk to someone else. And I say not know. He might not know that it's okay to talk to you about this. Part of like coaching is, like you said about I'm teaching him to be coached, is giving the person permission that they can say anything they feel like they need to say to you. Because most people don't know that this is that someone wants to genuinely listen to them. Are you ever feeling like you're getting frustrated with him?
No, actually. I thought I would. We talked about him briefly before when I took him on as a client. You probably don't remember, it doesn't matter. But I was going to like stop the sales call because I thought I don't think I can work with this guy because he was just avoiding all my questions. And I was getting frustrated, and I didn't finish the call, so I didn't know how to do it in a nice way. So I sort of just let the conversation run. But actually, it got better as the conversation went on, and I made him the offer, and he said yes. And actually, since then, every week it's got better, and we actually have some good conversations. So no, I haven't got frustrated with him.
Are you
No.
sure? Is there any self-doubt that you feel when you're with him and you're like, I don't know what to do here?
Yeah, there's a bit of that. There's definitely a bit of that.
You don't need to do anything. He already knows. It's like, and it's, cliche, like he already knows. It's all there. Like, I put in my morning formula about like understanding that both with myself and other people around me, I allow space, but I also hold boundaries.
Okay, what do you mean by that?
You need to allow space for him.
Right.
And that means allow space for yourself as well. So it might be that you just have some more silences and you feel the tension and he feels uncomfortable. And your energy, there was a Russell Brand video that I put in the group, and it really resonated with me. It's like when I'm talking to people in certain situations, like, and this is Russell Brand's way of putting it, which is what it is. It's like, he's almost like, in his words about love, he's like, there's like a bridge between me and the other person. And he's like, I'm almost imagining, he said he got given this advice by someone. I'm almost imagining there's this bridge between me and them. It's just like sitting there with peacefulness, and that's like holding space. He's not used to that. This might seem like, what the hell are you talking about, dude? The other part of it means that he does need boundaries as well. So don't feel you can't call him out on this. Don't feel you can't say, look, can I just do you know what, on today's call, I'm going to say some things that perhaps maybe you might be surprised. Do you mind if I do? You'd be like, well, what? I'm like, look, I just feel like there's some stuff that I want to go over. I want you to get the best out of this, and I think it's important we discuss it. Is that cool? Yes. You can give a metaphor if you want around, sometimes when you're training in the gym, it's painful and it's hard, but you need someone to do that for you. And then at some point I say, look, you keep telling me that you want to lose this weight and you want to create that off switch. But I'm going to be honest, man, it feels to me like if you want that, I need you to just allow yourself, and again, use the words that aren't judgmental. I need you to allow you to trust me to tell me what's really going on. And you could even say, look, I know, like you say, look, I know, use your own personal situation. It's like, I know it's hard. Like, I don't know, I'd say something like, I grew up with my dad, like, we never talked about anything. By the way, I'm not saying this is true, but like,
yeah.
It's like, we never really talked about anything. And, sometimes, again, I'm not saying this is true. It's like sometimes I see my dad and he's got a lot of these challenges going on. He never seems to want to be honest about. And honest is a bit of a funny word. Open. And I say, look, I know to a lot of men, this is really strange. Some of the stuff we're doing, I get it. But I feel like that if we need to figure this out together, I need you to go there with me a bit. And even be honest, say, look, sometimes I feel like we're getting to some depth and it feels weird or unusual or not the conversation that you thought. Let him say it. Say, look, I need, because he needs to give himself permission. He needs to open up.
Yeah.
So it's like that boundaries, like, I need you to do this for me. Now, you don't need to go into it there. You just say, look, over the next 3 or 4 weeks, a lot of when you get like counseling or you do psychotherapy or like you look at this stuff and read into it, it's like they already probably know stuff, but they know that it's step by step. They already know stuff about you that they could ask you there and then, but they don't. Bit by bit over 4 weeks, your subconscious needs to feel safe.
Yeah.
Well, give me some thoughts, dude.
No, that's cool. That's really helpful. I think, yeah, like I said, every week he gets better, or we get better together, I should say, I suppose. And I think that, yeah, it's giving that person permission, or he giving himself permission to talk about stuff like that. We'll talk about stuff.
There's a model, and there's one more little example that I might give.
All right.
I might use clients. Say, look, I've told you about a client I had before. Yeah. I worked with a client and, we were really doing well, but I knew we were scratching the surface. You know what? And it found out that they had, give them an example. We realized that the reason they didn't have an off switch, you don't have to literally say the words that he said, but it's like that they struggled with this was because and give them an example, like whatever it is, like they comfort it. When they didn't feel they were getting love when they were children, they comfort it. And you might say, look, I know that's not you. And I know that, this was you can say something like, this was a female client, but often there's some real keys there. Cool. And just leave it there. You don't need to go into it there and then. There's a coaching model, which is the problem serious? No. Is there a problem? Is it serious? Can people fix it? Can they fix it?
Yeah.
He knows there's a problem, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Does he think it's serious?
Yeah.
Does he though? Has he actually got diabetes?
Yeah.
Have you asked him what the consequences of diabetes is?
Have I actually asked him? No.
Look, dude, I don't know how much of this you want to share with someone. It's your call. But like, what do you know to be the consequences of diabetes? Let him tell you. Like, did you know that? It's like, get him to fucking talk. What's the consequences of diabetes? Your feet fall off, you go blind, and you die.
Yeah.
Like, ask him, how do you feel about the fact that you've got something that if you don't manage it, you could die?
Yeah.
Would you share your own story with him, or is that not something that you would do?
No, I would. Yeah.
It's like, again, I'm not saying this is what you'd say, by the way. I'd be saying, look, you mind if I share something personal? Like, he might know, he might not. I'm assuming he does or not. And it's like, when I was diagnosed with would you call it, is it a terminal disease, what they would say it is for you?
I call it incurable cancer.
Okay. Would they call it that?
Yeah.
We've all got a terminal disease, by the way. So, like, there's no difference between that and everyone. We've all got it. It's life. And And I'd say like, and again, you need to manage this, by the way. You don't, I'm sure you wouldn't, but you don't want to make someone feel judged. It's like, you know, when I realized that I've got incurable cancer, or whatever you want to say to him, you know, I realized that this is the time that I want to take care of myself in the best way possible. Like for those around me, for me, just to feel good. Like he needs to get some depth. You need to open him up.
Yeah.
Are we good?
Yeah, that's good. That's good. That's a lot of good points there. I'll re-listen to the call. And
what was the other part of the conversation?
the other part was just thoughts on a good offer for, not a good offer, but
do we insert a dick joke at this point, the penis joke, after talking about death and cancer?
Yeah. Yeah, go on.
All right, no, we've already done it, but go on.
Yeah, good offer for hybrid.
To people that are currently in the gym and to everyone, or to an individual?
No, currently in the gym.
Just everyone though, not
Just
an individual person.
Yeah, just for everyone.
What's your thoughts?
Would it be sorry. Would it be better to not better? Do you think I should go for individual people or do a blanket email?
Yeah, so we've got to kind of work on, when you put an offer out before, do you remember we wrote emails?
Yeah.
We did an offer. How successful was that?
Originally, about this time last year. Yeah, I got 2 clients from it. Shush.
So how many calls did you get booked?
4.
Cool. So I would judge it on calls booked, not clients, because probably now you'll convert more of them.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 options. You could do like put a similar offer out, which, to be honest, it's like you don't want to keep recreating new marketing. If it's worked before, do the same thing again. You get 4 calls booked in, fine. You get 2 clients, cool.
Right.
So that's one option. That's the kind of like machine gun option. Go and fucking spray everyone you can possible. And then I'm like, okay, I also probably want a bit of a sniper option as well, just to like
pick them off.
Such a bad analogy, isn't it? Like to pick off the ones that you don't get. Time basically is like, you know, the time outcome balance.
Yeah.
Would I get on the phone? Yes. How many people you got at the moment?
In the gym?
Yeah. Members.
67.
Yep. Awesome. What would we call Steph? Was she called like Mrs. Green? Doesn't quite have the same green something.
No.
Yeah, does it? Get her involved.
Yeah.
You two get involved and get on the phone and just speak to everyone. Just check in.
All right.
Green goddess. No, that's too, that's like really kind. Green is like
Green goddess. Wasn't she
suck on that?
Aerobics instructor in the 80s, wasn't she? The Green Goddess.
Mate, you're showing your age.
I am. But you must remember that. Come on.
Your profession. Yeah. Alison said yes in the 80s. So I would get them on the phone. Alison said she remembers her. I would get them on the phone. I get her on the phone, get all of them on the phone, and just call them up just really quickly. Like the thing that you've got to take into consideration is like how long it takes to call everyone. Do people answer? Don't they answer? All of that kind of stuff. You probably want to make sure that you're doing it, but not for too long. Try them a couple of times and then just say, get a little script that you can leave as a message next time. Just say something like, look, give me a shout back. Give me some times that you've got available and I'll call you then. Like, you know, the frame is, don't worry, you're not in trouble. Ha ha. Just want to see what we can do to help extra. The important things, a couple of important things here. We don't want to feel like this is some switcheroo. We don't want to feel like they've made a bad decision buying the group, the stuff they're doing in the gym. We don't want to feel like we're just trying to sell them more shit. Not that you would feel like that. So a little bit of it's like, look, I might not start the 10 minutes and go, look, if there's something more that we can help, we're going to jump on another call. I'd just say, we're here to talk, find out how you're getting and what extra help you need. Have a 10, 15-minute call with them. At the end, say, look, how are you feeling overall? I'm struggling a bit. Give them stuff on the 10 minutes. Like, look, what I want you to do you mind if I just say something? I say, no. I want you to be mean. Ha ha. It's like, look, in all seriousness, look, the reason we're doing these calls is we want to make sure that everyone's getting as much as they can. And look, I know how tough it is for you at the moment and for everyone with COVID and lockdown and just really busy, even though it feels like we've got loads. Like, I get how difficult this is, and don't worry, I want you to tell us what we can do and what extra things you need. So don't feel like you're going to offend us. I'm ugly enough. So you're giving them permission to say what they need to say to get truth on the table. Keep doing that. It's like, and basically it's like, how happy are you? Please be honest. Scale of 1 to 10. It's like, get some sort of things where it's like them basically telling you that it's not that they're unhappy with what they're doing with you, but that they feel like they need some extra. Maybe you sort of say, how are you feeling kind of with your headspace, and how are you feeling just with clarity? How are you feeling with just like, energy outside of the gym? Energy outside of the gym with, how are you feeling about, I wouldn't necessarily use mental health, but like, it's a bit, how you feeling about stress levels that's happening at the moment? Sleep. Ask them about sleep. And then look, to be honest, like, here's what I'm going to do. You need to be careful that you don't offer too much. Give them something at the end of the call. Here's what I'm going to do. Have a little bucket. I'm going to send you an article on sleeping better. Right. I'd like you to have a look at that. Give them a gift. It could be anything. I was going to say, I'm going to send you an email with the 3 things that you're working on, but you don't want to have anything that you're going back and forth with. It's creating more work for you. So I'm going to send you this. Even if you're sending them stuff you've already got and they've already got access to, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a gift. I think you might have access to this anyway, but I'm going to go and pluck it out. I'm going to send it to over email. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yes. So that feels like you're getting a gift, even though they've got access to it. Yeah. Anyone else that you feel like would be relevant, say, look, I've actually got something that I think that I could give you some extra help with. Like, it is slightly separate from what we're doing. I'd actually really like to talk to you about it. I think it might be really beneficial. Can we jump on another call away from this, and maybe I can give you an explanation of what we could do, what we're doing. That's the kind of cut off point, that it's not like, at the beginning of the triage call, if not, Rob, it's like you're almost like pushing them through. This is not that. There's a direct boundary that they have to say yes. A bit like what I was saying to Tony. Is that something that you'd want to have a conversation about? Yes. You sure? Yes. We do half an hour? Okay. And then, does this make sense?
Yeah, totally, yeah.
And then just get them on a separate call, and it's a sales call.
Yeah.
The only thing I would do differently is, if they're current members, I would give them urgency, but I wouldn't make them say yes or no on the call.
No, I was just going to ask about that. So no scholars close.
No. Oh. You can give them a scholars close, but it's not around time on the call. So you could say something like, look, to be honest, we're doing this now. If you decided that it feels like this might be something that you want to do. Yeah. Okay, cool. If you decided that this is something you want to do, when do you think you would be able to make a decision about it? Right. Ask them. If they say something like next month, say, okay, look, cool. To be honest, this is something we're doing now. What about if I suggested that we decide one way or the other by, and again, it depends how near they are. So they probably often, to be honest, most of the time they say, the most they'd say is a week. Anything more than that, and just challenge them. But often they're like, I'll let you know in 2 days, 3 days, 5 days. Awesome. So here's what I'm going to do. Normally, how much is the gym?
Well, over 3 months, over 12
Yep.
weeks. Then most are on 2 sessions a week, so that's like 750 for 12 weeks.
So then I'd say, look, normally this is how much you charging for this to them?
Well, I would think 1,200.
Why?
What do you think? Well, 1,200 because my price is 2K now, right?
Yeah, for online.
For online, yeah.
No.
So
That makes no sense.
why?
It doesn't make any sense. Your price is 2K, so why are they paying 1,200? It's a different offer.
So, okay. I was going to ask you about this. So, okay, so it should be higher then.
Yeah, I mean, I would do it at 2K if you feel like you want to give them something.
Right.
Did you just hear a hello?
I didn't get that. Could you try again?
Oh, I did.
Oh,
That's
God,
Siri.
I'm happy
that's
that second
Siri.
bit came in because that freaked me out. No, I mean, look, like, no, it's 1,500 at the minimum. So what if there's
right.
a different offer? So it's up to you.
Right.
I would charge $2,000.
Right.
Or if you want to do it
Okay.
1,500, do it 1,500. If you want to do it 1,800 to 100, but no less than that.
All right. So no difference for people in the studio then.
No, 1,500 then is fine.
Okay. So how would I present that then at the end? Would I say?
Say, look, normally the investment for this is 2,250 for this
Right.
version. Pause.
Yeah.
However, you guys have been with us for a while. I want to show some loyalty, and to be honest, I think this is something that you really need.
Mm-hmm.
You mentioned let's make a decision together on this by Friday. As long as we can get a decision by Friday, what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to take off what you're investing over the next 3 months in the gym, which is 750. I'm going to take that off, and so it will come down to 1,500.
Right.
You might need to make them very clear what their offer is. So does that make sense? Yes. Are you sure? Yes. Do you mind if I go over it again? And go over it again a couple of times. So You're still going to be doing the stuff in the gym. This is separate. This is something that I do personally. It's actually you could say it's a separate business. You can say it's a separate offer. They won't know what offer means. It's a separate, I might even say it's actually a separate business, my own personal coaching.
Right.
However you are in the gym. So we are going to take that off. You're still going to come to the gym. You're still going to be there. You're still going to be build. You're still going to be the $250 a month. But as a reward for that, I'm going to offer you this program at 1,500 to get my extra support.
Right. Okay,
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Awesome.
All right. Anything on that?
No, that's cool.
All right.
That's great. Thanks for that.
All right. Okay, so we're getting some minds changing. We're going to Alex for 3, 2, 1.
What's happening?
You good?
Yeah, I'm all right.
What are you working on? What help do you need?
So 2 things. One, hopefully just super quick. So I've got a sort of long-standing client that's I've presented mastery offer to. Went through the slideshow with them and said, look, this, went through all the pricing, etc. They sort of seem keen, but I don't want to count the chickens yet. I basically said, just let us know by kind of midpoint next week. I haven't heard anything yet. What's kind of the sort of best follow-up?
Okay. Tell me exactly what you said. What did you agree?
So when I was given the presentation, I said, let me know by kind of middle of next week. Is that cool? And he said, yeah.
Are they in a current program?
Just finishing.
When
Or
is it
just
finishing?
finished? Just finished.
When?
Last week.
Okay. Can you see the thing that if you did this next time, you might tweak?
Yeah, I kind of had to put more sessions on. So I actually put in like 14 weeks rather than 12.
Yeah, but can you see the one thing that you might do slightly different?
Do it earlier.
But apart from that as well, yeah, definitely that.
I'd get an exact date.
Yes. So you want to do two things. You get an exact date, and if possible, there's a reason for that date. It doesn't sound that important because it's like, well, they're either going to do it or they're not. Sales are balanced on the head of a pin. Yeah, but they've already done my stuff. They know, like, and trust me. They know I'm awesome. Like, they're going to do it or they're not. And that might be true for, I don't know, you offer it to 10 people. 4 were always going to do it. 4 were never going to do it. Well, it's only 2 people. Yeah, 2 out of 10. Like, how much have you made the offer for?
3.5.
Yeah. So even if it's only 2 people, it's 3.5. That's $7,000. $7,000, like, good amount of money.
Yeah, absolutely.
You could like buy another program of us, couldn't you?
Something like that, yeah.
So, like, the thing that I'm saying is that let me know by kind of the middle of next week. Are we at kind of the middle of next week now?
We're kind of past the middle of next week now.
Are we though? Was Wednesday the kind of middle of next week?
Yeah, I get your point. It's open to interpretation.
So is Wednesday? Yes. Is Thursday? Well, he said the middle of next week. Thursday's the middle of next week. Is Friday? It's Thursday today. I know I said to Alex I'd get back to him. But you know what? I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. Wake up Friday. My brain knows that Friday's not the middle of next week, but I'm going to convince myself that it is because the week is till Sunday. Thursday's the middle. So one day is Friday. I'll go out on the piss on Friday. I'm hungover Saturday. Now I'm starting to feel guilty. Now I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to do. Now my brain just says, there's no point in doing it. Like, it can sound like this isn't how people make decisions with such a big amount of money or such an important thing, but it is. I nearly didn't do Patrick's thing. Unselfish shit, right? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I literally thought you said I'm going for a shit.
I said, yeah, and it just went off. Patrick can't sell for shit.
Yeah.
It's like, I was deciding whether to do his day. It was only $1,000. I was kind of on the fence. Your clients are still sometimes going to be on the fence, by the way. They want it, but there's cost some money. And the missus is like, I want to buy this and that. And, the kids are like, oh God, I want to do it. And it's like, I remember I thought I'd lost my card, my TFL card, yeah, my underground card. It was only 30 quid. I was like, fucking hell. I hate when that happens. Right, I'm not doing Patrick's Day. It's like, how has 30 quid got any, and it was probably 25 because it had been a couple of days. How's that got anything to do with this? It's got nothing to do with it. But we make decisions so irrationally. So when we're in this situation, who's the energy with now?
Them, and it needs to be with me.
Yeah, because you now need to go and chase him.
Yeah.
So specific date and reason for the date. There's reasons we make the timings very clear that you start this process so you can tell the person, all I need is a decision by the end of this program. That's important. There's my brain goes, that makes sense. By the end of this program, of course I need to tell him that. If we don't have a reason, we need to make one up.
Like the bonus, for example.
Or no, I would prefer to say him, you know, if you asked him how long does he need, he said, oh, you know, I can tell you by Wednesday. So Wednesday, yes, awesome. That's perfect because you're going to be bringing some new clients on because of whatever. There just needs to be, if you can have a reason for it, it's like, all right, okay, awesome. So it's the end of the month. That's what I need to know. Because at that point, I'm going to start looking at my diary for the next month. It's the end of the week. Okay, so you're going to let me know by Sunday. Yeah, awesome. But do I need to say something like at this point, look, just so I'm clear, if you come back on Monday, we're done. Did you offer him a smaller investment if he carried on?
No. I said the price of the program is 5K. I'm going to take off the investment for the first program.
So you did. And all I need from you is?
To be honest, I don't think I said all I need from you is.
Cool. So the price is 5K. However, you've come through my first program. I've really enjoyed it. And to be honest, I want to show you guys some loyalty. So I'm going to take that 1,800 off the 5K. So it brings it down to 3,200. All I need in return from you, I'm doing you a favor by giving you the opportunity to pay me £3,000, 3,200. This is how it works with the law of reciprocity.
Yeah.
All I need in return from you, because I'm doing you a favor by taking more money from you, I'm being facetious here, by the way, but all I need is for you to let me know by Wednesday. So it's not been particularly clear at this point.
Yeah.
So what happens if he comes back on Monday and says, yeah, I'm in? What do you do? Do you give him the discount?
Yeah, I mean, in this case, I have to because I haven't positioned it.
Or do you though? That's the problem. It's like, well, you've said to him, you need to let me know by middle of the week. What's the sort of small learnings we're getting?
Just firm it up, but don't firm it up from like a place of like, oh, I need to know. I know, you know, it's just like firm it up from I'm doing you a favor and they're going to feel obligated to be like, yes or no.
I mean, as much as anything, it's just you being certain.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what we're going to do. Because the problem here is like, if you said all you need to do is let me know by Wednesday and he comes back Thursday, no. Like, if he comes back Monday, you're torn as well. Because you're like, oh, I sort of did, but I didn't. And then he's like, oh, I'm still thinking about it. What do you say then? But remember I said that you can only get it cheaper if you decided last week. Now I'm like, now this is icky. So let's figure out what we're going to do. He's just not come back to you by Thursday. You said middle of next week, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't necessarily know that he gets the discount only based on making a decision now.
Correct.
Yeah. There's not really much we can do apart from at this point is that I would probably wait till tomorrow. She could send this message really late because I think Thursday could still be considered middle of next week. I think you can send this message tomorrow. Don't send it before 9 o'clock. It's weird. Send it after 9. And it's literally, hey man, did you decide to put this on the back burner? You could go with the, hey, did you decide what to do? You're cool. Whichever one of those you feel is appropriate.
I was thinking back burner before asking, to be honest.
Yeah. Your challenge is going to be if he says, yeah, man, I'm still thinking about it. Have you seen The Queen's Gambit?
Yeah.
It's like, you know, those scenes where it's like, you already know it's like, oh, this is getting out of my my control. Like you already know, like that you can see it in their faces. They already know like 5 moves behind ahead that the game's over. So I'm assuming in chess, there might be some bits where it's like, it's too late. There might be some bits where it's like, well, this is the move that really matters. It's like, if he comes back to you and says, you know what, I'm still unsure. You really have to lean out at that point.
Yeah.
There's not much you can do. You're going to have to lean out and say, you either say, look, and you can't even say, look, I need to know now, because then it feels icky.
Yeah. I mean,
go on.
The guy's done 1, 2, 3 programs with me in PT before that.
Look, again, like all I said before is 4 going to do it, 4 aren't, 2.
Yeah. Yeah, I still think he's one of those 2, to be honest.
All right, just back burner him then.
Cool.
If he does say something about like, oh, I'm a little bit unsure, just literally all I would do is pick the phone up. I wouldn't even answer it. I'd just pick the phone up and speak to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
All right, anything else?
There is, but I don't know if anyone else needs to go.
Let me just see. Did anyone else want a hot seat? I'll swing back round to you. I'll speak to Heather and then we'll come back.
Yeah, cool.
All right. Okay, I've got 2 Heather Meeks for some reason. Let's go with this one. So, Alison, I'm going to do a hot seat with you as well. Heather Meek, 3, 2, 1.
Hey, Tim, can you hear me?
Heather Meek. Yes, I can indeed. We've got 2 of you for some reason.
I know. Can you pick the other one?
I can indeed.
Oh my gosh, that's so much better. Is that good?
Indeed, indeed.
Okay.
What help do you need? What you're working on?
Okay, I've got, I want to talk about my names for my programs. And I know that we just went over that a little bit in level 1, which is helpful. And it might be a longer conversation than we have time for, because Allie wants to get on too. And then
as much time as you need. Anyone's got as much time as they need. There's no rush.
Okay. And then I have a client, Carrie, who's my new mastery gal, and she has chosen to pay for her mastery through her business. And she asked me for, like, not literally, but sort of like a brochure or something to show, like in case the accountant asks, or she said, do you have something that can tell me about what this is? So almost like she can validate it. It's not even for her. It's just more so for kind of like the business side of it, to validate that the business can pay for it.
Okay.
And so I don't know anything about that because I've never heard anybody talk about that. And then you and I had talked about, what do you do for November and December, or this 4th quarter, these 3 months that is fun. So I don't know what that is. As far as revenue and like, how do I handle that and what am I going to do? And those are my 3 topics.
Okay. All right. Let's start with the middle one. I'm going to be a little bit aware that, like, when we talk about things like accountancy, law, invoicing, permissions, health insurance, and all of that stuff,
Right.
You have 50 states in your country, 52, 51, 50?
50, you're right.
Yeah. Which would mean every single person that we ever talk to about all of this stuff would be like 50 different lawyers. Plus there's all the other countries. So I don't know any of this, like, for accountancy reasons. I'm not going to suggest I do, like legal reasons.
Right.
I don't have any. She's already bought it, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I would just say it's not how my business works. I don't have anything. I'm more than happy to put together an invoice for you.
Okay. That's kind of what I said. I was like, well, you don't really need it. I don't have it. And she's like, well, and the other thing she did bring up was that she's interested in possibly hiring me for like her business partner, and in a sense, running it through the business that way too. Or even like, she's got a personal assistant and she's like, oh my gosh, my personal assistant needs you. So there's some other talk around that. And I have heard you talk, to 2 different people about something similar, like a partnership or something. And so I was very clear with her and, drew it back to, this is for you. And if we want to talk about other people, that's fine. But it's like, I'm not doing a partnership thing or, whatever. And she got it. So I'm not super concerned about that piece of it. But I think that's part of why she wanted something. But I don't, the mastery is different than what they'd be starting with anyway. And so,
Yeah, I'm so
and she
look,
kind of knows that.
Tony's gone through. I'm trying to figure out like what this woman actually means. So like, if we break it down, like if someone asks me stuff like that, it's like, that's not how my business works. She's already bought, by the way. I'm more than happy to do an invoice. As far as I'm aware, that's all that the accountant would need.
Perfect. Yes, agreed.
If you said to me like, do you have a brochure? No.
Right.
If that's going into something around like people that she's working with or wants to hire you, like the way that I'd look at this is like, if someone says like, oh, I need a brochure, part of my brain is like, well, what do they really mean? What exactly do you mean? And I wouldn't say it like that. I'd be like, okay, cool. What exactly do you mean? So I can just get my head around it. It's like, what do they mean? What is that? And it's like, and if it comes to the point they're like, well, if I was to hire you for my business partner, I'd need a brochure. I'd be like, okay, look, I totally get that. From the sounds of it, I'd love to do some work together. But if I'm honest, it's not how my business works. How we started is how I take clients on. I have a conversation with them first of all. We have a look whether this is right. Then we have a further conversation. And you can even say it's like almost like an application process. At that point, between us, we decide whether we want to work together. I don't have brochures. It's not how I run my business. It's like, what would you like to do? Me and Tony just sort of had a discussion about this, and someone was like, it's corporate. They have a certain way of doing things. And in the end, it's like, I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Agreed.
Yep.
Yes.
Cool with that?
Yeah, that one's good. I'll put something together, and if I get stuck, I'll just reach out again.
What was the last point as well? We'll go to the other one because I like the kind of name stuff, but what was the last point? What were we discussing?
Oh, you and I were talking about where do I want my year to end, that kick-ass, the third tier in the revenue thing, and then what if I don't, and then what if you just it was like extra or fun money or whatever for the end of the year. I like that idea. I'm good with it. I think I'm good with it. Like I'm okay with that part of it.
Goals, Heather Meek, for this year?
Yes, all of them except for that one.
But have you hit your goals? Like, we do 3 goals for a reason, but like there's a reason why the first one is structured as in, if you hit this, would you be happy? And you were like, yes. And then we have a second goal. It's like, oh my God, yes, I would be over the moon.
Right. Yeah. Yes.
So at this point, have you hit the goals and the extension goal?
Yes.
Cool. So the rest is just like, I don't know, playing for fun money. Huh?
Yeah, like that's what that's exactly what you said the other day. And then I'm like, oh yeah, okay. And then my brain has a hard time wrapping around that. I don't understand what that is.
What part of it? Not what part of your brain, but what part of that?
Well, I guess I don't know what that exactly means.
Just go with me. Go on. What exactly?
Yeah. Well, like Matt Meek says, well, are you just gonna stop working then? I was like, I don't know. I don't know what that means. And I was like, well, no. What'd you say?
Do you want to just stop working for a bit?
Oh,
ignore Matt Meek for the moment.
No, because I don't want to take my foot off the gas pedal.
What would happen if you took your foot off the gas pedal?
it would feel like a lot of work having to turn it all back on.
What does that even mean?
It means when you go dark on social media or you are not in people's heads, you have to reestablish that, which takes time and effort. And
Is that true?
yes,
You sure?
kind of, yeah. I don't know, at least for me. And okay, I kind of get what you're saying. I mean, I don't think that there's not hundreds of people that are seeing the stuff that I'm posting anyway because of where I'm putting it. But I also don't want to, like, this LinkedIn thing, like I got to get it turned on, and I understand that, and I have a plan in my brain, but I don't want to sit back either and then burn up time. Where Heather, if you would have just started the slow process that we've all know is a slower burn with LinkedIn in November or at the end of October, you would be in a better position come January or come whatever. So I just want to be vigilant of that instead of just being like, well, I'm shutting down.
Okay. So let's just play a game, and let's say that you instead of getting to where you wanted to get, you got there and it took a month later.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, does it even work that way though? Like in my brain, this is what I wanted to do by the end of 2020. Okay, you didn't get there or you did get there, and then there's something different for 2021.
Sure, but you have got there for 2020, you've already said.
Mm-hmm.
What would happen if you didn't have work?
Well, there'd be a whole lot of time that I could do some stuff.
Cool. Which would be what?
Spend time with my hubby and my kids and get the house in order. And Matt and I've talked about traveling, which sounds crazy now because of what's going on, but just getting out of here for a while since they shut sports down.
Why do you think people get so addicted to their work?
Well, I know why I do, because it's something that I can measure, and it makes me feel good, and I like my people, and the other stuff is a lot of times thankless, and it's the same old thing. The kids are not they're not telling me how helpful I am and how they've really made a difference in their lives and how smart I am. So it's tough.
So you said there, like, I like my stuff because it makes me, did you say feel happy? Like, I like doing my stuff, I like my people, I feel happy. It's like, well, does that mean without work?
I don't know. I don't know if I said that word. That's a big word.
Does work make you feel happy?
Accomplishing and providing and being good at something makes me feel good. Does it make me happy? Yeah.
So accomplishment and doing things, etc., makes me feel good. So then what happens if I'm not doing those? Does that mean I don't feel good?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. Sounds crazy.
I actually think it sounds really normal and common. But most people would never even be able to have the fortunate situation to get to this point.
Right.
I was thinking about it like today, it's like most people who have, let's talk about a business, for instance, like it's really nice to sit there and have 10 years of still looking towards to earn the money that you want. Because the reality of the situation is when you get there, a lot of people are still unhappy. So it's great that you've got 10 years of sitting in this kind of like, and I'm musing here a bit, by the way, I'm musing. It's like, you know, it's great that I've got this 10 years, I'm sitting in this place. It's like, when I get X, I'm going to be Y, I'm going to be happy, I'm going to be content. Great, I've got something to focus my mind on. Yeah, when I get there, I realize I've got that, but I'm still not what I wanted. It's almost like blissful ignorance. And by the way,
Right.
I'm not saying this from like, I'm saying this and it's not from not going through this myself. It's like, oh, when I make this money, when I make this money, when I make this money. Yeah, well, what happens when I made the money? When I buy my house? Okay, then I bought my house. But when I earn $1 million, I'm going to be happy. Is that true? No. Do you know what I think that you should do? You're not going to like this, by the way.
Oh, no. Okay.
I think you should take 2 weeks off.
What does that look like? Like not even coaching clients?
You decide. You're the boss. Clients are sheep. By the way, that sounds a bit mean, but it's not. Clients are also reasonable. Clients are cool. Hey, listen, it's Christmas. You probably don't want to speak to me, but I know you need a bit of support. So here's what we're going to do. This week, I'm going to do all my calls on the Monday and Tuesday. The week after, I'm going to do all my calls on the Thursday and Friday. So all you guys get time to take off because you don't have to come and speak to me. Did you know everyone in this program, you guys are having 2 weeks off? Did you know that?
Mm-mm.
Yep, everyone's got 2 weeks off. You don't have to deal with speaking to me and Phil.
Okay.
I just tell them that you're having time off. Speak to them. It's like they're not unreasonable people. It's like actually sell it to them. Say, look, could you also see this is really beneficial for you? Because my assumption is, by the way, that in 10 years, you probably don't want to have to still be coached by me. Haha. No, you know. So this would be a really good time to practice. Do you feel you've got everything that you need? Do you feel, by the way, if you could like have 10 days, this is all you, and it's Christmas, and we set some goals, and you start the Christmas period at this weight and you finish it at the same, would that be a good outcome? Yeah. Why? Oh my God, because it would tell me that I can go through Christmas on my own and I can stay the same weight. Would that be beneficial for you for the long term, more than me coming in and checking how you are? You know, so much better. Cool. That's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And put a plan together for them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we're going to figure out like what the hell goes on when you don't have work. Did your mother work a lot?
Yes. All the time.
Do you know why?
Probably for the exact same reasons I just talked about. Achieving, feeling good about herself. A lot of people she's in charge of. Wanting to be amazing at stuff.
And what happens, by the way, when some of that's eventually taken away?
She poured herself into other things, but along the way she's completely lost herself. She's morbidly obese. She can't hardly move right now. She's obviously scared to death for her life with COVID because she can't get it. She's got heart disease and everything hurts, and she can't see us. She can't even come to my house because she can't go up and down the stairs. So I see it.
What's the difference between you and her? And this isn't a judgment on your mum, by the way.
I have you and the team that I see it now. And my profession is one that gives me advantages in such ways as to avoid that.
Yep. And it's one thing I thought is like, not only you guys in here, but your clients as well. The difference between you and your clients, especially the ones that are going there, it's like you are doing something about this. You're asking yourself the questions that other people didn't.
Right.
Maybe they didn't know they could. Maybe it wasn't out there. Maybe they didn't just stumble across some random people on the internet one day and it's like, oh, buy some business coaching. And then what the fuck? So have some time off and just see what happens when I take time off.
Okay.
All right. Let's talk about names.
All right.
Do you feel that you would like to change the name of your program, or would you like to keep it the same?
I'm okay with changing it. I thought long and hard about why it started to, like, why I started my company as The Best You. But I also knew that it could be the umbrella of it, you know, like Self-Esteem Brands is the company brand of like Anytime Fitness and of Wax the City. So it doesn't have to be what it actually is. I can still be The Best You LLC. I can be that organization, that company, but my programs don't have to be called that, and I can have multiple programs. So I'm not attached to it, but it does make sense in my brain. And what's interesting is if you look at my logo, it's an H and an M, but there's a bridge. And that was the whole thing, is that I'm helping people bridge from where they are now to where they want to be. And that was my whole thing with The Best You, is helping people become the best version of themselves. And that was all before we all met. So yeah, I'm willing to totally change it. I do agree it's kind of non-directive for people, you know, especially when you're marketing. And I don't have a name from the mastery, which is a little bit weird now that I do want to talk about it more.
Cool. Do you like the names that Tony eventually came up with?
Yes.
like on a scale of 1 to 10, if I was in the Reset Blueprint and then I knew that there was this program called the Confident Woman Collective, like where would I be? Like, not me personally, obviously, but like, where do you think people would be like on a scale of 1 to 10 of like, oh, I want to pique my interest at the very least?
Oh yeah, like 8, 9. Like that sounds cool.
Yep, I agree. So I think that we want to work towards knowing what this is. I think to be honest and blunt, I think that the thing that stood out more than anything that you said there to me was when you pointed out the fact that that there's a line and that's the bridge. I'm not saying that I would use the word bridge, but that stands out to me more than the best you, because I think that the best you is a great name. Not that it matters that other people have used it. I mean, I'm sure someone's used the Reset Blueprint somewhere. It feels like it doesn't feel specific enough.
Agreed.
And I think that
and I wouldn't have known that before, but I feel it
totally
now. Agreed.
Totally. I mean, I had, my first program that I ever launched was called Fit Pro Mentoring. That's literally the name of it. Like, okay, I didn't really care and made lots of money quite quickly, but it was like, okay, like there needed to be a bit of thought about eventually. So who do you want to work with? And if we looked at this in a couple of ways, we've talked about the fact that at some point you want to start sort of bridging out into perhaps working not always just with people who already know what you do, etc. And it might be like, these are the clients I've really enjoyed working with, or this aspect of them. Like, what are the problems that I want to solve for my clients? What problems are showing up that, yeah, they're buying fitness, but then it's all this other stuff. Like, do you know what that is?
It's a little bit of what, I don't remember who it was in level 1 was talking about. Maybe it was Joel. The oh shit, here I've arrived at this age and my kids are older and now I've completely lost myself. It's, Jake just asked me a question. It's what's interesting is I have a bunch of people right now, not a bunch, but 3 or 4 that are in this stuck place, and they need to, which is interesting too, because I just did this myself, but they need to either switch jobs, change jobs, or do something different in their current job, because they've been stuck not only with their health and fitness, but then they haven't been working to their potential, let's say even at work. And so now that we've been working together for a little while, these conversations have come up where like, this one needs to get a job, this one wants something new, this one wants to earn more money, that kind of stuff. So that's kind of bubbled up. They all want to lose weight.
They do, but I think that like I really like this place. I really like, I'm not even saying avatar, I like what you're doing for people. I think it's really important, but also it's really, I mean, look, I'm not a female, I don't have kids, I'm not that age, but I can kind of feel like how hard this must feel for people. And I think like in a way it's like, and again, we can start drilling down into this, but like for you, I think one of the really great things is that you had the ability to go and start a business.
Right.
Like, and it wasn't easy, by the way, of course it wasn't, but you had that as do what I do and I work for a gym. Why can't I do this on my own? So it was, must have been a really difficult decision, but you're like, no, I'm going to do this. Other people might not have that situation. They might not have that kind of, I don't want to call it like an escape valve because it shouldn't be. They didn't have that like opportunity. It's like, you know what, I mean, you could start an accountancy business on your own, but it's not, look, to be blunt, what we do is easier to start as a business. It's quite
Right.
obvious the jump we can make. Well, we train clients. All we need is to train them. Obviously, if we're just going to become personal trainers, but so some of these guys wouldn't have that path. They wouldn't have, it's not open to them. So the decisions they need to make are either much bigger and they can't do it, or they just don't know. They don't have a passion. Fitness is a passion. Maybe they don't have that as a job. Maybe they don't work.
Right.
The one word that stands out, and I don't know if it's a female word, I don't think it is. It's almost like it's a loss of identity.
Yeah.
I don't know if that, does that resonate? I don't like
Yes.
the word. I think it's too male.
Okay, can I say something quick?
Yeah, please do.
Okay, I need to go because my client is actually here.
Awesome.
So I'm gonna go, but let's not lose our place in this
We're
because I
good.
want to come back to it.
Awesome. All right.
Is that okay?
Yep. 100%.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right, we're having someone saying, "We love you, Heather Meek."
Thanks, Tony and Allie.
Hey, it was Jack actually, but
Oh, thanks, Jack.
I'm joking. It wasn't. It was really Alison. All right. Speak soon.
Okay, thanks, bye.
All right. So who are we going to? We're going back to Alex for a hot seat. All right. 3, 2, 1.
Emma.
Okay. Where did we pick up?
So this other one's something that I've been speaking to Phil about, and it was basically, how do you start working on yourself and breaking down your psyche so that you're not so nice?
How long have you been coaching for now today?
Yeah. So, I appreciate everyone's got to go to bed, but
It's enough to go in bed. And by the way, it's 4 o'clock here. All right. Do you know what, this is good? Because at the moment I'm feeling a little bit, by the way, takes in the right way. I'm feeling a little bit tired, but I think you're going to get my best stuff because I'm not going to censor myself. Why are you asking me?
so what I talked with Phil about was kind of, I don't even know if he said it, to be honest, but this is what I took from it, was the need to kind of almost go on like a wilderness retreat and start breaking down some things and start asking myself some questions and exploring, a little bit more meditation, a little bit more kind of journaling, just like exploring some of the darker side of things. And really like asking some of the hard questions about like, why is it like this? Like, what do you want? What do you, not what you're conditioned to want, what you actually want, so that I can start to, in 6 months' time, build myself back up. But it would be a significant change. And I think if I think about when I come out of corporate, for example, and kind of move into this full time, if I'm the person that I'm at now, I'll probably do all right. But to get to where I want to get to serve as much as I want to serve, and to like achieve as much as I want to achieve, there's quite a lot of like stuff that I need to kind of start looking at. So yeah, I guess the question is, what's your thoughts through, I know that maybe you've been through an element of similar sort of stuff. What's your thoughts on, I guess, wilderness retreats, how to approach it, where to focus first, that kind of thing?
All right. What's the outcome that you want? So I said, why do you want this? And you talked about the fact that I want to be more. What is the outcome that you want? Why do you want to do all of this? Like, and I mean specifically this. Why this? What is it that you feel like? Why do I want to be, in your words, less nice? And by the way, I'm going to caveat that I might say some things here that are pretty fucking woo-woo.
Mate, you're talking to the right person.
Right, go on.
I think I will reach a level and I will get stuck at that level in a lot of areas of my life unless I can start to feel comfortable feeling okay with like not being liked or being okay to like ask really like hard questions. Because I said to Phil, I was like, am I going to become, if I'm not nice, am I just a dickhead? And he called me up straight away and he's like, it's not the opposite of being nice.
Is Phil nice?
No.
Am I nice?
You're nicer.
All right. What does that tell you, first of all?
You're different people.
And we both do all right?
You both have very different approaches.
But I'm saying we both do all right. Like we're doing okay.
Oh yeah, you both do very well, yeah.
Yeah, cool. So it's like, the reason I ask that is because it depends what you mean by like being nice. Like whatever version of you that you want to be shouldn't be based on, I need to like, I don't think there's anything wrong with being nice. I mean, I say it in level 1, I'm like, don't be nice, be kind. It's different. It's like, let's start like some things I've been realizing recently, and this is a bit woo-woo and it's a bit strange. I was reading that Warrior King book, then I watched the Manchurian Project. Is that what it's called? Project? Yeah.
Candidate.
Yeah, that's it. And there's a bit at the end where he kisses his mother, and or his mother kisses him, and it's not a kiss on the cheek, it's a semi-sexualized kiss. It's like, what the fuck? Like, I probably watched it before like 5 years ago or whenever, 10 years ago. And I don't remember watching the whole thing, but I must have thought, what the fuck? Anyone who watches that must think that's weird. And then what happens is he, I don't know if you remember it, he gets his mother and he puts his mother in between where she can be shot. So the story is that he has been, him and his platoon in, by the way, for anyone who's not watched this, they should watch this. Him and his platoon were somehow rescued by him in, I think it was in Vietnam. And he went on to become like the guy that was going to be the vice president. And a lot of that was built on the fact that he got the Medal of Honor or something because he saved his whole platoon. But a couple of the people in the platoon were like, had these memories of something weird going on. And like a few of them went mad and killed themselves. But the main character kept going over this and kept going over this. And then it turned out that what really happened is that this platoon was taken by this secret organization and implanted with chips that controlled them. Because this was the plan of his mother all along. That she was going to make him and turn him into the vice president and eventually the president, but she was going to be controlling him. She's doing it from a place of selfishness, narcissist, power, her wanting to control her child, not wanting to let her child go. Have you read, what was the film I saw the other day? I can't remember the film I saw the other day. Oh, The Joker.
Yeah.
Have you watched The Joker?
Yeah.
What's the story in that? The mother controls his child, right?
Yeah.
He didn't know this though. She manipulated him. She wanted something from him. She was a narcissist. And he finds all this stuff out, right? And he's that fucked up. So then you're like, okay, so in the film at the end, he knows that he needs to sacrifice his mother. That's the story, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and I'm watching this and I'm like, this is all weird. It's like, well, what has that got to do with us? And I'm reading that book as well. And then I'm reading like foreign stuff around like, not foreign, but young stuff around like the collective consciousness and the idea that these stories, these metaphors, these stories and that always seem to pop up throughout history. It's like, there's a meaning for this. It's like, is it like a guidebook of how you live your life? I don't know if it's quite as, I would say it's like that, a guidebook, but I'm like, okay, there's things here that I can learn that other people have been through, and perhaps they're not thinking about it like this. So it's like, why do a lot of men feel the need to be nice? Okay, well, there's lots of depths to it. I started to realize like they need something. It's like they're looking for what? Validation, someone to like them, someone to like, it's almost quite like someone to not mother them, but like pat them on the head. It's like a lot of, if we sort of delve into the relationship stuff, a lot of men like feel the desperate need to be liked. Well, of course you want to be loved by your partner or people that you're going to go and meet. But then when does that become needy? When do men become needy around women is when they need something from that person. Is it really the need from that person? Or where did the need originally come from? It's like, I'm desperate for this person to like me. It's like, if you go into a relationship and you need something from the other person, when you actually start to need something from the other person is when you start to become needy. And I think that a lot of relationships are needy. A lot. And then like you're with your girlfriend, wife, or whatever. It's like, sometimes they end up feeling like they're fucking babysitting you. It's like they've got another child on their hands. It's not good. Not good at all. It's not a good place to be. I think with men, a lot of the fear is like, I don't want to be this kind of macho jerk. So I don't want to be that kind of person. Of course you don't. But you don't have to be the macho jerk to be able to not be nice. In that film, again, it's like, it's talking about like what the metaphor, the story behind it is that in some way you need to sacrifice your mother. And by the way, if you look at lots of stories, Tyson was talking about one of, I can't remember if it was Alexander the Great or one of some other massive ruler. It turns out that a lot of these guys were mummy's boys. Like a lot of them were mummy's boys. And there was a few of them that were controlled by their mothers. So they're not nice guys, by the way. They pillaged and raped and rampaged through and killed millions of people. It's like, why? I mean, I know it sounds a deep question. Why would they even do that? It's like, what are they needing to fill? So again, this is just my perception. I sort of came to a realization that, like, is there something that I need to do to, and again, this sounds a bit strange, so go with me because I'm still figuring it out myself. It's like to sacrifice what I feel like I needed from my mother. Okay. I need to have conversations with her. I need to talk to her about stuff we've never talked to her about before. Because I think that starts to become, it's like, I need something, because you're never going to get it. You're never going to get what you think you need, which is in the end, the love of my mother that I didn't have. Whether that, by the way, is like, well, yeah, I recognize that I got shipped off to boarding school and I didn't feel like I got it. It's like just an acceptance that like I need my mother to love me can sound quite infantilizing, right?
Yeah, when our first coaching call, like probably almost a year ago now, I remember having a chat about my parents, and I was just like, "All right, it's my parents. I'll go speak to my mum." I was like, "Oh yeah, mum, I need this from you," because I didn't say like my coach had said this, but I was like, I felt like I needed her to apologize for everything that she'd said that she had done, and I didn't get it at all. So I just ended up not feeling any better in that respect. And I think on the next call you were like, dude, it's not exactly what I meant.
So look, again, like some of this stuff, it's like, well, it to some people it would just sound like absolute garbage. Maybe it is, I don't know. It's like, do I think that reading this stuff is like a guidebook to how we can act? And I'll share personal stuff. I was going through a situation in a personal relationship where I was needy. And I'll say this in the right way, that didn't show up anywhere else. In other situations where I'd meet people, it only showed up in the person that I actually cared about. It's like, how did I end up in this situation where I was a needy motherfucker? And I could tell I was needy and I could tell it didn't feel good. It's like, I can keep trying to chase what I think I'm looking for from this situation, or I can hold, and in hindsight, I should have held boundaries way before I did. And probably, what would I say? When I made some decisions, it was never going to work out how I wanted it to. It couldn't be that situation where I said, look, this is what I want. And you need, I knew as soon as I had this conversation that this was going to be the end of that situation. But it was around the same time I was thinking about that sacrifice stuff. It's like, I need to sacrifice, and again, I'm using the word on purpose. I need to sacrifice this situation, this, to be blunt, this person, because in some way it's a representation of the things that I've realized that I needed this thing off my mother. And were we playing that role out? I don't know if we would quite say it like that, but the more that I needed this off this person, the less that I got, the more needy I got. I was like, this is not a good place to be for anyone. And in the end, I just was like, right, this is it. And the boundaries were set and it was like, we're done. Like, by the way, I can recognize the way I just said that in my voice, that there is still issues with it. Like, I'm not just all calm and fine about it. It's like we're done. Even the way I said that, there's ego, there's anger in there. It's probably not anger with that person, by the way. It's probably anger with myself, or anger with, I was never shown boundaries. So how do we sort of metaphorically sacrifice our mother so we can become the people that we want to become? Well, going and saying to my mum, hey mum, look, my coach said that I need to sacrifice you. Like
you know, probably, that's the next conversation, right?
Yeah, please don't do that. You're probably not going to get what you want from her. You're probably never going to get it from her. She probably wouldn't understand. And you probably, it's, my God, I wouldn't understand this. So metaphorically, how do we start doing that? Like, how do we start realizing that when I'm wanting to be the nice guy, like why nice guys aren't nice? Most of the time they're needy. And if they're not needy, or they are needy, they cover that up with ego, macho jerk, which is why most men don't want to act like this, because they think, by the way, that when I am this type of person, I'm going to come across as a wanker. I actually don't think that many people as a whole have had any experience around people that have a thought process or show up in the world like this. I certainly never did. I had no male role models ever. So again, I'm not saying this is you or anyone. It's like, I look back and it's like, I was very feminized by my mum. I had an issue with what it was like. I didn't really know, by the way. It's like what it's like to be whether you want to call it a mature masculine or whatever. I actually don't think that many people even have a clue. Like my mum, I'm going to go as far as saying this, she didn't mean to, but I think that she emasculated me a bit. And again, this is just the thoughts that I've worked out, written down, kind of put together. She told me not that long ago that I remind her of my dad. Okay. So I'm like, okay. But she said it in like a couple of things that I do. And the way she said it was a really nice thing to see. She's like, and she mentioned a time once. And by the way, these are the conversations I'd never had with my mum before. And she's like, when you're, one time I remember of your dad, like he was running down the beach in, I can't remember, it was India or whatever, and just like jumping around and he's like, you really remind me of him then. She said it in a way where it was like, she really meant it. It wasn't admiration. It was just this depth of connection that she clearly had. Yet I also flip that around and say, there was times when I was a violent little angry bastard. I don't think that it didn't go through my mum's mind, shit, I don't want him to turn out like his dad. So how does she deal with a little mini version of a guy, by the way, who was traumatized? Well, she deals with him by trying to feminize him. Right? I'm not going to give him guns. He's not allowed action men. And in fact, when his auntie buys him an action man for Christmas, he's not allowed it. But he's allowed a Care Bear because I'm going to buy him one and I'm going to send him to ballet. Cool. It's like, is that the worst thing that happened in the world? Actually, probably not, no. But does there need to be a balance? Do young boys need to understand that violence and the threat of violence and anger is a natural part of our psyche? Of course it is. Like, of course it damn is. If my mum had the choice between walking down the street and there was some weirdo across the road, would she prefer to be with me or my sister? Why would she prefer to be with me? Because the threat of violence would stop this person potentially coming and trying to rob her or whatever. Do you agree with that, by the way, Alex?
Yeah, unless your sister's like a huge wrestler or something.
She's not. She's quite small and ginger and frail and would cry. I'm not saying I would like. The point is, it's not even the violence, it's the potential for violence, the potential for anger, the potential for force. It's like men are made to feel like this stuff is not acceptable. It's not true. Like, I should be nice. Why? Nice isn't helpful. Like, look at the greatest people that have lived. It's like, by the way, they've probably got a lot of fucked upness about them as well. But like, what did they do? They weren't nice. Your question about like, what do I do? It's almost like a lot of the stuff you were saying was quite in a sort of feminine energy. I think one of the things that people as a whole have lost is ritual. There's a reason why Jewish people have bar mitzvahs. It's like, you are now an adult. You are now a man. There's a reason why ancient tribes still, by the way, did certain things to boys when they were 13. Have you read much about what tribal rituals of what they did with children? Have you ever read anything about it?
Yeah, it's like the boy's path to manhood, sort of like a apocalypto, rite of passage, that kind of thing.
That is, it's fucking brutal, some of what they do. That's why a lot of things like hallucinogenics are involved. why a lot of violence is involved, a lot of like wearing them down, not giving them food, like scaring the fucking bollocks out of them. Like literally, and some of this, by the way, as well, is beating the desperation for their mother's love out of them. And I literally mean beating them. Now, look, I'm not saying, by the way, that this doesn't, like, you could probably say, well, that probably has some fucking scars for children. Like, maybe it did, I don't know. But a lot of those rituals are around, and you read into some of them, it's about removing the desperation for the mother's love. It's like, you don't need that anymore. You shouldn't need it. I think there's a real, I wouldn't say there's a need. Well, I think there is probably a need for it. Now, you're not going to get away with going and doing the shit that I've read that they did to boys. So there's one I've read that they get them and cover them in ants, make them sit there for fucking like a day, like getting eaten to, and it's like there's such a surrender involved in that. And again, I was specifically reading one about like, that's exactly what they're doing. They're getting rid of the need for the mother's love. It's like the sacrifice of that. Even there's something about like what the actual metaphor around the resurrection of Christ was about. It's like, this wasn't it was the child version of him died, the boy version of him died, had to be sacrificed for then the man, the mature masculine to grow out of that. But what you read, Jesus was quite a nice person, but he also, like, again, I don't know loads about this, but he did, well, if the person exists, by the way, and from the, I don't think it really matters in as well, you know, he did a lot of good in the world. A lot of what you said about like the things that you could do, that's really like stuff there that's a lot of feminine energy stuff, which, by the way, I don't think is a bad thing to do. It's like there are retreats that you can go on which are much more towards a more masculine energy thing, like things like energetics. Like there's a reason you go to like what's this called stuff, Elliot Hulse's. And by the way, Elliot Hulse is a bit like, it's gone a bit off on one more recently, but it's a bit by the way, I know that I'm saying he's gone off on one, but anyway, there's a bit it's a bit vanilla. I mean, if you went and did one of these fucking things that I'm sure are available, some tribe in fucking Colombia or whatever, man, like, it probably wouldn't be tame. Like, he does a lot of energetics, a lot of shouting, a lot of release.
And that's, I think, like one of the, it's not an issue, but when I've looked at like how things have come out, like if I've been nice 80% of the time or whatever, it's come out if I've been drunk and I've been a terrible drunk, or it's come out when I've been angry and frustrated and I've you know, I've gotten, you know, more fights and been arrested in my sort of youth. And now, you know, more recently, it's been channeled into like a challenge, for example, which is constructive. But it's like, what I guess I'm struggling with is a more masculine way of processing it so that it has more long-term benefit, if that makes sense. So rather than channeling it into like a challenge, I'm able to kind of, you know, explore the fucking, like, you know, all that sort of anger, frustration stuff behind things and let that out so that I'm more balanced, you know, at the bottom of a pendulum.
Are you a nice guy in your relationship?
Being a nice guy, it's never really something that's like shown up in my relationship per se. Been a good guy.
Okay.
But I hold boundaries quite well in relationships. I don't hold them so well with friends or at work or sometimes.
And look, the one thing that I would touch on, Alex, as well, is like, you know, one of the things you've mentioned, it's hard. One of the things that I was sort of thinking about, like with our roles in what we're doing at the moment, and it really hit me the beginning of this month or last month around energetics. And it was like, when we build the business we're building, like everyone will be in a team. The people that will be out of the team, the outliers, they will still be in the team, but they'll be like the different lot will be the sales team. The sales team needs to be fucking savages. Now, educated and nuanced savages, but they need to be fucking savages. It's like, that's not the culture in the rest of the business. So when you sell from a hopefully higher self, there needs to be part of you that has that energy of just fucking savagery. I'm just going to go out and do what I need to do to get people on the fucking phone, and you're going to buy my shit. Now, you don't actually say it like that, but that's the energy that you create in yourself. That's kind of hard sometimes to switch on and switch off. So even in a weekly kind of monthly thing, it's reasonably hard to be in the energy where you're coaching people, and then all of a sudden, like even the next week or the next day, and certainly in the same day, now I need to, probably not in the same day, it's like, now I need to just be in that fucking savagery. Energetics are very difficult, especially when you get some depth to it. So having the energetics of 1 minute I'm Alex and I have to be the person I am in corporate, because corporate is a certain way of being. The Alex that wants to be the other version of himself, that's hard to swap between. It's hard. Part of it, I think, is you need to fucking sacrifice this job. I think you're going to struggle with some of this until that happens. It's the sacrifice of something that I need to do. It's like, I'm going to again, I know this might sound strange. It's like, that's how I ended up making the decision I did. It's like, I need to sacrifice, and I literally made this decision like this. I need to sacrifice this person. I felt really bad about doing it because I think the person has, again, like in my mind, it's like this person needs help, and they do. What does that really mean? Like the version of me, the real higher self of me, is it really that person needs help, or where's the mirror in this? Because the version of me would have held different boundaries. It's like, I need to sacrifice this situation because in the long term, in the bigger picture, again, I'm using these words on purpose, but it's like, it can sound harsh. It's like, you know, this person, she needed a lot. It's like, I can't do it for them. But what am I really looking for from that? So the sacrifice comes in lots of different ways. It's like, the sacrifice needs to come that I need to sacrifice things. I need to sacrifice comfort. It's like, I need to sacrifice, I'll be blunt, what's stopping you leaving your job now?
Money and a backstop.
Money. What else? By the way, I'm not saying you get off this call and go, right, I'm going to go and leave what you did the first time. Mum. It's like, money, what else?
I think money's the outer game. There's nothing really within me stopping me now.
I don't agree. Money, identity, security, significance.
Yeah, I kind of wrapped it all up in one, but yeah.
It's not the money. It's nothing to do with the money. How much money are we talking?
£5,000 a month.
For how long?
Well, like my
Roughly.
last chance to come out is September, between
Roughly.
July and next year.
All right, so £5,000 a month for like what? 8 months. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when I say this, like, I'm doing it on purpose. Big fucking deal. 40 grand. My God. So what? Is it a lot of money? So again, it's like, well, is it that? Is it? And again, please take this as it's meant. I'm not saying go and do this. What I'm saying is, what is it really? Well, it's security. It's my girlfriend would go off on one. She would feel unsafe. She would be like, see, I would say something like this. I'd be like, this is what I'm doing. This is not your decision. So like, that can seem like it's a place from, so the example that I read in I did David Aida's course. It's like the macho jerk will say to, and he uses terms like this. He's like to his woman, sit down. And it's like people in the room see that and just be like, oh, what a fucking twat, macho jerk. He is. He's doing it from a place of, there's a guy that I knew in the gym. He's only 19. He's very good looking. He's got a fucking huge amount of charisma. Like, he's works behind a gym. Sometimes I want to just grab hold of him. Like, he's Maltese. I'm like, dude, man, you could do so much with your life. Like, seriously, what are you doing here? But the way he talks about his missus, he's 19. Why would he not? And he's like, yeah, you know, he's tearing around with everyone. He goes, I told her, she don't like it, she can go somewhere else. I'm just laughing at him. It's not my place to sit there and go, dude, come on, man. It's like, that's the macho jerk. That's the lower self. Mummy's boy, by the way, most Maltese guys are, with like this ego. Maybe he'll grow out of it one day. It's like stage 2 is the guy who is like the extension of that, the positive extension, which is the touchy-feely. I probably shouldn't say that. It's like, we're going to have this conversation. Like, I can be okay with expressing my emotions. She can be okay with having a career and having, you know, and again, this kind of changed in the 60s, perhaps. Men started getting haircuts. But this is me paraphrasing from what I've learned. And women started having jobs. Is this a progression on the 50s macho jerk and the housewife? Yeah, of course it is. Does there ever become a stage 3 where you would say to your wife or partner, sit down? Yes. Would that be okay? Well, it depends. Would stage 1 macho jerk look at stage 3 guy and go, yeah, high five? Like, it's a totally different perspective. They're coming from very different places. So sometimes I might just need to tell someone, no, this is what I'm doing. We're not having a conversation about it. Like, that can come from very different places. I think a lot of, if we're talking about like the masculine stuff, I think a lot of men are scared to do that because they've made to feel like that's not okay. Well, if you went and asked some women, they would feel that that's okay in certain situations from the right person. Does it make people feel protected? And by the way, again, do all women need that? I don't know, probably not, no. But do they want to have a man who says one thing and they trust him to do it? Yes, I think. We've got one female left on. So, okay. Yeah. From a female perspective, I met a few guys in my life that have a presence and they don't come across as wankers. They subconsciously make women feel safe. They're not traditional nice guys. Women can feel like their strengths and he's not threatening or wanky. I could talk about this all day. Do an office day based on this. Please, I'm here for this. So a lot of men are afraid to be like that. Like, one of the things, I was out on a date with a girl the other day and she's like, I don't date Colombian guys. I was like, oh, by the way, we didn't speak the same language, so this was all on translate. And I was like, oh, why? And she goes, they're machismo. I was like, oh, okay. And you see the guys walking around here, some of them have a lot of presence. You go to, say, Ukraine, the women are beautiful. The men are just fucking wreck. You're like, what the hell is this? You go here, the women are fucking beautiful. The men have something about, like, there's plenty of men here that are very good looking and they've got something about them, but you can tell that there's a little bit of that machismo as well. It's not particularly a good version of masculine. I'm sure some of it is. So how we start sort of identifying the version of the person we want to be, I think there's a lot of issues there. We're told that we're told that you can't just say that to someone. It's like, sit down. Can you? It's more of a metaphor, by the way, than anything else. It's like, can you? No, we're doing this. I don't know. Like Ali said, it makes people feel safe. It's like, why would we not do this? Again, I started this whole thing with the idea of like that sacrifice, which is, again, I think a lot of the stuff you're talking about is like, I want to do this retreat. I want to do this thing. A lot of that is about sacrificing the needs that we had as a child, realizing that we're not probably going to get them. We're probably not going to get it from my mum, who's going to pat you on the head and go, everything's going to be all right. By the way, I'm not saying at the same point that you don't need to go for an experience where you have that a lot of these kind of hallucinogenic things, a lot of the stuff I've done around some more deeper coaching, you are like a 6-year-old. You're literally a blubbering wreck. You are embodying that 6-year-old version of yourself. I remember doing some of this and it was literally, I was just like, it's like that needs to happen, but then it needs to happen in stages as well. Some of it needs to be the other stuff, which is, you know, go and find a fucking retreat where it just brutalize you, to be honest. I don't know how much they can do now legally.
Yeah, it feels like there's, right now it's more of the go bang a drum, not have a
Mate, you've got anger in you. You do know that.
Yeah, and that's part of, like, I guess the shadow side that I deal with, because I try and distance myself so much from it a lot of the time. But part of me is really worried about, oh, you know, what happens if just another guy hits the ground a bit wrong, or, you know, it comes out and I don't have a fuse to put on it, a dampener to put on it.
Yeah, it's not good.
No.
Just getting drunk and hitting people is not good. It's like, and I say that like, it's not good because it's not good if you fucking kill someone, but like, I'm more interested in you. It's not good that that's in you. Where is that coming from? Like, who are you really angry with?
Me, myself, my mum, my dad. I never got shown, like, I mean, what you were literally, your stories just sound like my dad was actually a part of my life, and, you know, quite close with him now. But during that kind of puberty years or whatever, just like hated him. And I probably, like, you know, I relied more on my mum. And my sort of male role model was my mum's brother, who's gay. You know, so I've got that on one side, and then on the other side, you know, I've got my dad, who's super macho, like military, and the only other people that were kind of around at that point were like a couple of teachers who were, they're again like quite militaristic. So I feel like I ended up like suppressing a lot of like, I don't know, rage and frustration and like not quite fitting in because I hadn't quite been shown where I was supposed to like fit in. And so like in general life, like I'm starting to find it now, I am, but I still don't know my boundaries. I still don't have set enough boundaries in any aspect.
I don't think, like, one of the things that I feel, I'm not going to use the word fortunate, but it's like I had two places that I could really discover and push boundaries. And first of all, it was business. And when I split up with my long-term girlfriend, I realized that I wasn't the person that I wanted to be. And how else would I put it? Like, I probably didn't know the person I wanted to be. I knew outcomes that I wanted. And I was like, okay, I've got all these frames of reference of like being good at business and what I've done. And, you know, my rational brain is like, well, I know what I did there. I'll just do the same thing here. Not being fearful of rejection. Okay. I get stood up twice in a day. Do I feel butthurt? Of course you do. And you know what? I'm used to it. So then it's like, okay, so showing intent. It's like, okay, this is what I'm going to do to show intent. Shit, I wouldn't ever think of doing that. But no, I'm going to do it. It's like business, show intent. Do you want to fucking buy this or not? It's like, whatever it shows up. It's like, okay, I can do that. Do it. Don't feel good about doing it, by the way. Then I realized, like, bit by bit, I'm like, nah, okay, this is okay. Were there times where you push the boundaries and it goes a bit far? You don't know that you're going to do it. But the thing that's really awesome is that you only know what is the real acceptable level of how you interact by doing it. You know, I've got certain frames of reference in business. There's loads of times where I've pushed it too far. And like, I realized that. Okay, well, I'm going to change the way of being in. It's like, stop taking everything so fucking seriously. It's like, have fun. Okay, well, where can I have fun in like a sort of not high pressured environment, but a real unusually emotive place? Sales calls. And I'm going to push my boundaries to fuck. I'm just going to learn to be awkward and handle the tension. All right? So I can do it there. I can just practice. Like, where does the energy come in? Like, you know, things go a lot deeper than this, by the way, but it's like, okay, so not only am I practicing becoming that person, holding boundaries, telling people how it is, listening better, by just growing as a whole, I just feel much more comfortable in that situation. Dating. Like, I don't know, probably went on, like, a lot of them would be like coffee dates. I didn't know anyone in Malta. So I'm like, well, I'm just going to meet people. I just do it on. It's like maybe 200, maybe 150. It's like, okay, I'm just going to, why can't I just relax and have fun with someone? It's like, what's the matter? Why am I taking this so seriously? Why do I care about what they think about me? Like, why can't I be, and then you read some of this stuff and it says like, be playful, be stupid, not stupid, but It's like, well, I couldn't ever do that. Well, why not? Then you do it and you're like, oh my God, this feels, then you realize that actually, no, that's okay. It's an okay way to act. Are there times when you push the boundaries a little bit and you realize, you know what, that's not me. That's not how I want to act. Like that's a bit lower self. I don't want to be that person. You learn. Like at the moment, it feels like, where is this in your life, Alex? Where are you able to actually push boundaries? Where's the growth? Where's the opportunity for real growth?
I never really thought about it before. But probably in my coaching business, it's number one.
But you're not doing it properly.
Yeah.
Like, again, I'm not doing this because I want to say that I think this is what you do. I want you to challenge the assumptions that you have. And is that true? Why aren't you leaving the job, the money? Is that true? All right. If you wake up in 50 years, are you going to regret the fact that you didn't collect the 40 grand?
No.
If you turned around, and again, I need to temper myself. I know I'm kind of it's more about the thought process here.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I appreciate that.
If I turn around to my missus and say, I'm doing this, like, how's she going to act? Let's say I turned around to my missus and said, I'm doing this, and they're not used to it. When you change how you are, it changes the way that other people interact with you. So when you become a different person, I don't mean it reflects in that other person, but it changes things. So if I turn around one day and I'm like, and my partner is used to me being a certain way, and I just turn around and say, this is what I'm going to do, they will push back. She will push back against you because she's, and maybe let's take it away from you. Women will push back against men because they're pushing their boundaries.
Yeah, I mean, that happened. That exact thing that you're talking about there happened when I realised that it wasn't just I quite like to do coaching. Please may I do this sort of thing? Let's have a discussion. It was this is what I'm doing, and this is when I want to do it. And then there was like a pragmatic conversation around, okay, well, what's the time frames about it? But not once was there like a.
So again, it's like, Alex, to be honest, like I feel like I'm being inauthentic if I don't just tell you what I really think. Is it all right if I do?
Of course, mate. Of course.
And I don't take this that I'm saying that you should do it. I just don't want to keep saying I'm not saying, so it doesn't feel right inside of me. I think that you need to sacrifice the job. I'm not saying that you do it though. I think you need to sacrifice the job because I think that it's going to be the best decision that you would make. Because I'm like, I'm fucking doing this. Would I? And again, I'm just saying how I feel I would act. I'm not going and having a pragmatic conversation. I'm telling her this is what I'm doing. Now, the thing with that is then we then get shit scared because we are then saying something that I'm going to do this. And we get scared because we then need to. It's like the pressure is on. It's like, what happens if I can't make it work? And then how am I going to feel when it doesn't work and I put our family in this situation? And, you know, and I know there's other stuff going on. I know that. I might be talking from a place which is very different to where you are or other people are. It's like, it's easy for me to say this, but again, I feel like that making the decision now yourself, as opposed to the default decision that in a certain amount of time that I'll do it because it's the default decision. There's a big difference in energetics and energy. That you will feel much better when you've made a really fucking strong decision and you've done it because you've pushed your boundaries, and in 3 years you did it this way rather than just let it default to when you can do it. Now, look, again, I'm just being honest. You're having a child soon, right?
Yeah.
And have you got a house and a mortgage?
Yeah, we're just moving in January.
Yeah. So please feel free to get off this call and go, what the fuck does that dude know? He doesn't have children. He's not got a missus. He's just fucking pissing it up the wall in Colombia for 3 months. He doesn't have a clue. Like I'm really open to that.
I guess the thing that I definitely don't have that thought, because I've often thought about it, but like if I look at two things. If I look at where I'm at right now, and I also look at like even where other people are in the program, I'm like, there's certain elements where I could do much more, but there's certain elements based on where I'm at, where even if I had a 50-60 hour week doing coaching, it's like,
dude, the thing that I think, sorry to interject, this is a much bigger picture thing than that. You're sitting and you're looking at this as like, this is what's happening right now. It's what's happening in the next 3 months. This is what's happening in the next 6 months. If you really wanted to take this a bit more woo-woo, it's like, well, I'm not saying I'm going to start making all my decisions in life based on fucking mythology that I read. But I'm like, I think there's I want to say secrets, but I think there's paths that have been worn and walked by a lot more people than just me. And this is not just like, how can I put it together? I want to say it's proven, because that's the wrong thing to say, but it's like, when I've generally done things that I think that I've pushed myself to do, it's made me a much happier, better person. I didn't possibly know at the time when I was doing it, by the way, that, oh, this is sort of part of like the mythology of the hero's journey, or like, oh, I've just read Carl Jung and he talks about this thing in the mature masculine. It's like, that's not how it was. But again, I'm only using it as an example. It's like, I don't want to make this decision based on this person that I care about. I can't make decisions. It's not helped me. It's not served me. I need to make the decision on the bigger picture. It's like, do I need to sacrifice this situation for the bigger picture? Yes. Didn't want to do it. And then it's like, no, I need to do it for the bigger picture. Not me now, not me in, I don't know, some of the guys in the program we're in, and Phil mentioned it the other day, they're talking about creating wealth for like 4th generation. Like their great grandchildren. What has that got to do with like them in some way? Like they're going to be dead. They won't even know them. I mean, they're their bloodlines, of course. So where does that sort of decision making come from? This is not just about me now and people in the program. It's like, do I believe in the universe? Do I believe in this kind of thing? Do I believe that I would want my children to grow up to have a dad that embodies these kind of decisions? Would I want you having a son or a daughter? Do you know?
Yeah, don't know.
Let's say you have a daughter. Do I want my daughter to grow up and me know that I'm moving towards the kind of person that I would have wanted to have as a dad? What is that going to teach my daughter? She's going to grow up with a dad who has, look, we've all got flaws, of course, but has done as much as he could to be the person that he wanted to be. Do you think that daughters do you think parents are important role models to children?
Yeah. You said something there which I guess I've always thought of it as like, oh, you've got to be able to provide for like your wife or children, but so much more than that. It's more important than providing is like being an example, kind of being what, you know, maybe I didn't have. Values fully void. So I don't want them to have to go through some of the things I went through, and that's more important than any amount of money or investment, is kind of being that person and embodying that. And I've never quite thought just how important that is the most important thing.
You're getting some love, by the way, Alex.
It's good. I need this. I need to feel this because I feel like we all write about like change and transformation and what our clients go through, and you know, some of us that have been through it kind of realize the physical element, but when you're like changing everything, you can like viscerally feel it. It's not easy. So I guess it will help me at least like relate to my clients when they're just trying to change any element.
All right, man. You probably weren't expecting that, right?
That's been biblical.
Yeah. Literally, man. Have you read that book, by the way?
Yeah. I literally almost threw my phone out the window because I couldn't log into Amazon to get it. But it's
have you watched The Manchurian Candidate?
I have, but I can't remember like hardly any of these references. So
Watch
I think
it again.
this weekend I'm gonna
You
watch
saw
it.
the Joker, right?
Yeah, that's good.
The metaphor behind the actual story. It's like, it's a metaphor. It's not literal. It's not that in that film it is that his mum is a narcissist and wants to control him.
Mm.
Was my mum a narcissist? Well, it depends. Like, the word sometimes makes people feel strange, but there's connotations there.
Yeah, my mum definitely wanted to control me.
All right, so the rule is, by the way, you get off this call, it's Thursday, you're not allowed to go and speak to anyone for at least 48 hours. You're not going to go and tell your missus that you're going to sacrifice your mother.
Yeah. Well, it was either her or the missus, so we flip the coin, right?
No, you don't want to sacrifice your missus. Your missus is good. She's a good part. Like,
Something's got to be sacrificed. I just got to find out what.
Alison's saying, Tim, do a podcast on this. I literally can't. I can't in normal people environment say this stuff.
Just call it the sacrificial lamb.
I only managed to say it to you guys because I trust you, not to go, what the fuck?
No, it's been awesome. Thank you, dude.
All right, man. All right. We'll speak soon, okay?
All right, cheers.
All right, guys. Thank you for being on probably what's been the longest level 2 coaching call ever. Thank you to Alex for opening up. It's not easy, especially when with stuff that you might not get your head round, or like it's a bit I don't like the words woo-woo because I think it I know I use it, but I think there is depth and lessons and learning in this that we can understand at a level where we can have a conversation. Our clients don't need to see this. They don't need to have this conversation, but you'll see this show up time and again with your clients at the level of their consciousness. So hopefully that's been helpful. Thank you, Alex, for allowing me to spew some stuff that's been circulating my brain for a while. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Take care.